All right. Greetings, 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 family, friends, and the world. This is Mikael Eric Harris, better known as the Juice, also known as the Alkaline Water Guy. How's everyone doing on this beautiful night? This yesterday, which is the first day of the week, which was Sunday, September 14th, 2025. This is where we at. We in the night after quote unquote Sunday. We're in the night after Sunday. So this is a little after 9 o'clock. And this is Fight Fire with Truth. This is Fight Fire with Truth. We're here every Sunday evening, or shall I say Sunday night at 9 p.m. And this is open conversation. Tonight we have open conversation, which is every Sunday night at 9 o'clock. Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation night. We have open conversation. We talk about almost anything that come across the board that we all can bring to the table. So, and as we start, I got something to take off that I should have, but I don't see my blade. Here we go. That I should have took off. But I guess I'll leave it on. I was doing something, and I didn't want to get my finger wet. So let me take this baby off. Doing some cleaning. Well, I plan on doing a little bit more cleaning when I get done. So I don't want to get my baby finger wet. I just leave it on. But other than that, tonight is Mikael Fight Fire with Truth, and we're gonna start off with our prayer. Then after the prayer, we're gonna go into whatever we plan on talking about tonight, and we'll bring that up in a few moments. Because we actually was talking about an interview. I was gonna be interviewed tonight by anybody that came on, and G1 wanted to ask some questions, but let me do the prayer first, and then we'll get on with that. So we can start off with our prayer. Blessed be thou, Father of the universe, that bring forth all living creatures forth from the earth. Blessed be thou, Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Blessed be the Father of Israel. Blessed be the Father to our tribe of Israel. Thank you, Father, for all you've done, been doing, and plan to do. We ask you to keep giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, life, health, and strength, food, shelter, and clothing. Let us be happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and prosperous in all that we do. We ask you to keep leading and guiding us, that we can help lead and guide others in your knowledge, your word, your ruach, and your way. We ask you to keep your armor protection around us, keep us in every way, help us in every way, and allow us to come to your word, your perfect perfection in your word. We ask you to anoint us with your knowledge and your information, and with the Holy Spirit and with your ruach. We ask you to forgive us of all the sins that we have done, our ancestors and our forefathers, against you and your word. We ask you to turn us back to you so we can keep your word and keep your way. We ask you to help us in every way, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, or spiritual. In all these things we pray. Hallelujah. 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 All right. All right. As we just said not too long ago, last week we was having a conversation last night after Sunday, we was having a conversation, and G1 was asking me about my time when I was in Europe, when I left Detroit, the things that has happened. I said we might can do like a little interview tonight on that. So this is still an open door, open conversation. So I guess this would be a good something that a lot of people know a little bit that I have done. And I wanted to know if you, G1, did you get a chance to check out any of the videos that I did across seas? Yeah, we can get started if you want to. You can start asking questions, whatever. Now, this is where we at. I don't know how we can call it, but yeah, bro. The questions you wanted to ask about last week about what I was doing across seas and the things I did and some of the things you came across,
You hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I did. I watched all of them, son. I watched everything. And yeah, I drew up a bunch of points and questions.
Okay, great. I want to check these out.
And yeah, so I don't know. We'll start how I'll start because I got a bunch they're scattered everywhere. I didn't get a chance to really organize them so that they can flow nice and smooth, but I'll try to just bounce around and we'll get into it like that. Hold on, let me
So just let everybody know how we're gonna start tonight off. This is more like I'm going to be interviewed, I guess you could say. It's going to be just question and answers about my life. I guess you could say that. Questions and answers about my life, the things I have done, where I've been, where I've traveled, my spiritual situation. I believe that's what all might come out tonight, but we may have more of this as well, because I know I got a lot that I could share, and I know it'll probably take longer than tonight. But it'd be nice just to bring up a lot of information, and it'll bring out a lot of stuff from the back, my background from
Yeah,
back here, and bring it back up to the
it's
forefront.
a nice way to tie in what we already be talking about with kind of like with your life, and it'll always everything always ties back. You know what I mean? So yeah, well, let's just get into it. So the basically, I watched your group Imperial. I saw one of the first videos I checked out was the Vini Vidi Vici.
Right, Vini Vidi Vici, right.
Yeah, so everybody out there, Vini Vidi Vici, that translates to I came,
I,
I saw, I conquered.
yeah, I came, I
That's
saw, I conquered. Yep.
that's Julius Caesar's famous declaration of decisive victory. So, and then I noticed that the music itself is 1990s. That was what, 95?
95. That was actually 94, 95. I started June of 94 through June of 95. And it was dance floor style. The style of music was dance floor.
Well, it's called Euro dance. Yes.
Yeah, they say Euro dance, but in that's what they call it, Euro dance. But when we was in a category over there, it was called dance floor.
Dance floor. Okay.
Hmm.
In that song, it's kind of like it. Vidi Vidi Vici is like it symbolizes to me Euro dance spreading across the globe and crossing borders. You know what I'm saying? Emerging cultures. So artistic. Did you see that as well? Like, do you see that as about empowerment, triumph, and asserting identity in the age of globalization? How did you see that song artistically?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. Artistically, I just seen the song. I didn't really understand it at first. All I knew is that it had something to do with the Bible, and that I was the at that time when we did that first single, which was Benny Bitty BC. I was the hype man, choreographer, rapper, and dancer at that time. And all I knew it had something to do with the Bible, and not knowing the Bible fully. I just going to church. A lot of people don't know the Bible. Going to church, they get up every Sunday, going to church. They hear the preachers preach, and they just go home. And I was young, but as I was there and inquiring a little bit, I just knew it had something to do with the Bible. I understood it had something to do about Rome and then the Roman Empire. So, and that was before I went to my spiritual awakening and started learning information. So that's how on that. And I just knew it had something to do with the Bible and with the Roman Empire. Now, it wasn't until in these days of time I really understood what it was about.
Okay, yeah, I see it was a lot of Latin Roman imagery. There was even Christian references, a lot of futuristic soundscapes.
Mhm.
In 95, Germany was a hub for Eurodance, and multicultural groups, singers, dancers, choreographers from all over the world became symbols of new European identity. So with you being from Detroit, living in Germany, representing that global bridge, American rhythm and dance influence meeting European techno classical fusion, like I noticed too a little bit of the like I see you had that Detroit style moves, like it remind me of some Detroit male dancer type, AV I could see the jig with the techno electronic jig.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? How was that bringing those moves, that type of style? Like you influencing maybe even the culture over there yourself, being responsible, bringing that great flavor. What was that?
Actually, that's what made to me that's what made Imperial popular. It was my style of dancing because we was doing the song, and just to share with you, the brother named brother, this guy named Tyrone Vincent, who actually brought me into the group Imperial. Uh, Truthfully, I'm just going to be honest with you about it. He said that he don't think it was going to be a hit. He said we're going to milk them for the money. That what he said. I'm just being honest with the situation. And by me, I said, bro, I said, if it's got a beat and I can dance to it, it's gonna be a hit. I said that before we even started doing the choreography to the song, and before we did our first performance video and everything. So when I heard the song, I listened to it, and when I can hear a beat, I can dance to it. I can make something happen. And we sold over 250,000 by first single within the first 3 months. And like I said, my dance style, which was like,
Yeah, get into that. Tell me about how you got into dancing because it seems like you were already well trained, like, to be a choreographer. It wasn't like something you just had learned in that moment. It seems like you were already tapped in with that. And now it makes sense to me when I would see you on YouTube doing those other dance videos. I didn't know what that was really about, but I see that's just your love for choreography and your
there
love
you
for dance
go.
has just been such a part of your life uh coming up. You were young, much younger then, but like so like yeah, tell me about how you got into dance and choreography and like maybe the life before Germany, how you were dancing. Like tell me about some of that. Were you a male dancer? Were you into what were you
Well,
doing?
actually, first, here I've been dancing all my life. It was like I come out the womb. It's like dancing is a part of me. I hear a beat, I can do something to it. Almost any style, I can kind of do the style, not even knowing it. I can just hear the music. If it's a style to it, I can kind of move to the style of that beat. But as I was growing up, like I said, I've always been dancing. And what actually happened is that when I was going to Southeastern over on Fairview and
Fairview. Yeah, I used to live on Fairview actually. Yeah.
yeah, I used to go to Southeastern, and when we was going to Southeastern, me and these other three brothers got together. It was a guy named Kedia Richardson, Matthew Jordan, and Dwayne Alton. We was called, and me myself, Michael Harris. We called ourselves the Cosmic Breakers, and um, we did our first talent show in 1994. No, 84. Well, I'm saying 94. 1984, we did our first talent show together. We came in second place, but you know, we got together, we practiced, and like I said, we four got together. Our name was Cosmic Breakers at Southeastern, and while we was when we performed, after performing, we came in second place. At the time, Michael Jackson was hot. We did the moonwalk and stuff like that. So this guy named I forgot his name, George Michaels, I think is. Well, I forgot his name, but he won first place. We won second, and then the special guest was this group called Devo, right? Their name was Devo, the Devo Dancers, and they danced after the show. After everything was over, they was the last ones to come on, and they mesmerized us. Cause they was on time. They were jitting. They was pop locking, jitting. Man, we was mesmerized by them. So from that point on, that's when we practiced, we danced, we
They
practiced.
kind of pushed you and motivated you to go further and more, take it a lot
Exactly.
more
As
serious,
a
get
group.
more tight in your routine. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, as a group. And that's when we really started doing routines and we started putting our routines together and we was traveling. We was going to the Central, where police was going, the group police way back in the day. We went to Central, my cousin Butch, he was there, he invited us to come to Central. We was all over town, went to Kettering, we was all over town going to different schools, kind of quote unquote challenging and stuff like that, and just
Mhm.
being at parties dancing.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we
So
grew up. We grew up, man. When I said we would travel, we would go all over Detroit, East Side, West Side, Highland Park, Hamtramck. We'd be all over dancing, you know. And it got to a point. Like this brother, I forgot. It's a few more people that end up joining with us. This brother named he passed. Now his name is we called him Charlie Brown. His name was Antonio Hollins. Um, he was the one that always followed along with us. This brother also from California, me and him, we end up I'm gonna tell you, We was in Southeastern, right? And a lot of people knew me for the breakdance because we all had different genres in the group, and I was the one that did majority of the breakdancing. And this brother named Arthur Ross, me and him became very good friends. But everybody went around the school looking for me to challenge this guy, and it was like everybody was looking for me, you know. So, he had his little California style or whatever. So, me and him challenged each other in the hallway. We challenged each other, and we came out. We always end up like a tie, even though he was hot in the head spins. I could do almost everything else, but he was good with the head spin, and he could hit a flare one time. But everything else I could do. I could do a head spin, but I hit him like that. But you know, we was more made like a draw in the hallway at that time, but he was another one that joined in with us as a affiliate, should I say? But me and him became really good friends. I ended up going in '86. I ended up going to California with him and his family twice, the beginning of '86 and the end of '86. But before that time, right after we got through performing at Southeastern at the in '94 the talent show, about a week or no more than a month later, it was I don't know if you ever heard. It was something called the Motor City Break, and it was 28 different. I think it was 28 different groups there. We was group number 19. I've always tried to find the video for, cause I think they videotaped it, but we can never find it. But it was 28 different groups that end up entering that. We was number 19. They said that we came out of six groups, we came at number seven. We like right if one of those groups dropped off, we'd came up as in one of the last, one of the places out of the 28 groups. Cause someone told us that's how we did. They said if we did more breakdance move, we'd have won. I was trying to get my boy Matthew to do the windmill with me on stage, but I was the only one that actually did some breakdance move on the stage. But that I'm gonna tell you that it was like dancing was our life. And matter of fact, since I've been going, well, should I say before I left, we went from cosmic breakers to cosmic dancers because it was two more people that grew with us in the group. My cousin named Juan, his name Juan Jones, and also Ronald Ford. Ronald Ford. Him and Juan joined with us four. So it's really six of us. We ended up being on the scene on the new dance show. We performed on there.
I was just gonna
Like I said,
ask you if you ever made it to the scene or the new dance show, because you remember the scene and the new dance show. Those are big, like TV production shows, like kind of like Soul
in,
Train that were locally
in
on
Detroit.
62 in Detroit. Yeah, they was, that were very big and popular throughout the city. People would just watch that on TV, of people just doing the latest dances and the fashion, and so Detroit has always had a scene of dancers anyway. You know what I mean? And just
Hmm.
innovative in music, and just had a great culture. You know what I'm saying? Electronic, techno, and all of that.
Yep.
Founded and started in Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan. But yeah, man. So yeah, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off. You
No,
said
no, you good, you good. It's just that man, we was traveling all over town. I forgot my little brother Chubby ended up getting his name was Benjamin Shavers. He got with us for a minute. He was traveling around with us. He was shortest one in the group, my youngest brother. He got with us for a moment with the group when we was Cosmic Breakers. I'm just trying to make sure I remember all the names that all of us because I don't want to forget nobody because it was we grew, a lot of people got to know us around town. Um, like I said, we grew. That was more like our life. Everything we did, we talking about. Then we used to talk about getting paid for dancing afterwards. So I mentioned me, Matthew Jordan, Keithia Richardson, Antonio Hollins, Ronald Ford, Juan Jones. We were the main ones of the group. And the pickup, more like the ones that were tagging along, was Antonio Hollins. Captain, his name was Captain. His name was Arthur Ross. What we called him. His I guess dance name was Captain. He was from California. Me and him became real good friends. Um, So a few more. I think a brother named Dominique that was with us every once in a while. It was a few others, but those was the main names that was with us most of the time, as well as my youngest brother. He passed now though. His name is Benjamin Shaver, but we called him Chubby. He danced with us for a minute as well. So, but us six, we grew, we traveled, we did a lot, and then we kind of all broke off. That's when I ended up going to California with Captain, which is Arthur Ross, with his family twice. I started taking care of my great grandmother. She had an amputated leg, and this is where I started before, way long before I started doing alkaline water. I used to see her take a lot of medicines and pills, and she had to take the medicine pill, and she was on dialysis, you know, and I was just against medicine. So I took care of my great grandmother until she passed. Then after in the time between her passing and when we was going to Southeastern, I ended up dropping out of school to take care of my great grandmother. And I was staying with my direct parents, my mother, my stepfather, and three of my siblings. They moved to Mississippi in 80, I think that was 82. They moved to Mississippi. I was staying with my father at this time. And then, like I said, in 84 is when we started, when we was at Southeastern, when we started performing and dancing. Right after that, after doing the shows, dancing, traveling, and doing all the stuff we was doing in Detroit, then Antonio Hollins, he was talking about, man, we can go down to Watts, man. You can go down to Watts and get paid for dancing, this and that. I was like, really?
Right.
And I
That's what
didn't
I
understand.
remember your style. When I would see some of these moves in the video you doing, I'm like, yo, he reminds me of. I couldn't think of the name at the time, but right, Watts Mozambique was like one of those clubs, like you said, like they would advertise the commercial on New Dance Show and stuff like that. And a lot of the guys who would be at the New Dance Show would actually work at these places and some of these spots. But yeah, like that's
I'm sorry,
yeah.
you going in and out on some of them, but I'm kind of hearing you most of them. I hear you say that you was talking about new dance show, some of
Well,
the
The Watts Mozambique, that reminds me when you brought that up. That's why I was saying your style reminds me of a Watts Mozambique style of dance
dancing.
move. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Body moves, hip
Exactly.
rolls.
All of that. Right, right, right. So
Yeah.
did you ever work there? Did you ever dance at Watts
Yep. That's why I'm about to get to it right now. In I went back to while I was taking care of my great grandmother, I went back to Job Corps. And while we was at Job Corps, I ended up graduating. But just before graduating, I started going to Watts. But just before I went to Watts, Antonio Hollins was letting me know. He said, "Oh, Mike, we can get paid. You can go down to Watts, get paid for dancing this now." Like, really? So I went and observed it first. I went, observed it, checked it out, and man, me and they up there dancing, hip rolling on the stage and whatever, what have you, and it was getting tipped, right? So I was like, I was wondering, if I so I was always cautious about everything I did. So I called my mother in Mississippi because they was in Mississippi at this time. So I could this was not at this time, this is at December of 87. December of 87. And my mother, my mother and it was in Mississippi. So I made a call down there. So I didn't know if that was against the creator because I always been conscious, spiritually conscious with the creator. So I didn't know I didn't want to go against the law or against the creator in any type of way. So what I did was I called my mother and asked her, I'm thinking about going down here to dance, do this male dance. And then she said, well, is it legal? I said, yeah, it's legal. All I have to do is go out here and get these dance licenses. She said, yeah, well, go ahead. If it's legal, go ahead and do it. I said, okay. So, but when, like I said, I like to get confirmation, like to ask, try to find out information and get confirmation first. So my mother said it was all right. I said, okay, cool, because she in Mississippi. She didn't know what type of dance and stuff or what have you. But when she was in Mississippi, when I called her, I talked to her about it. And I said, okay. So I think I remember the night. It was December 7th. It was December 7th. I was asleep and I had a dream. And it was a dream that I had, and it was and I'm gonna tell you what happened in that dream. It was a vision. I was asleep and I seen well put it like this. It was like I was traveling from Job Corps on a bus. I remember it was a big guy used to sing at Job Corps. He used to sing, right? And he had a beautiful voice, but he's like one of them, he was big boy, and wasn't in shape or anything like that. But he's like one of them church people, but he was really in the church. And he could sing. I remember him being on the front of the bus, and it was a few of us on the bus, and we was taking the bus. We was going towards downtown. It was more like a downtown area. When we got to the end of the stop, it was a whirlwind going into the heavens. So we all got off the bus. I'm standing right in front of it, in front of the whirlwind, and I seen these. I'm gonna say angels or ghosts. You can say angels or ghosts. However you want to look like ghosts, but it was going in and out of the whirlwind. The whirlwind was going up. It wasn't blowing nothing, but you can just see it going up into the heavens. It was flying out. It was flying out and into the whirlwind. And I was trying to say, Lord, I was trying to say Lord, but Lord, Lord, and I couldn't say it. So when I woke up out of my sleep, I woke up crying, because I felt like I got left behind. And I didn't know if that was a sign to what I was getting ready to get into or what it was about, but that was my vision. I did see that. Had many of them in my time of my life, but that was one of them I remember. So that next day, I went to go get my license. Went down there. I had 15 minutes on stage. Got on stage 15 minutes, dance, and from that point on, I was at Watch Club Mozambique. End up, I think about a week or two later, end up getting into a conflict. I always Conflict always found me. It wasn't like I started stuff, but I always finished it. Back at that time, I always fought. It would always find me, but I would always finish it. Not bragging or anything like that. A conflict happened on a misunderstanding, and what happened was, me, I tell the truth on certain things. So this guy named Goldfinger used to make G strings, right? And there was a new one sitting in the locker room. It was a new one that was supposed to be sold. I didn't think nobody had sold it, but this guy named Romeo Rod said, yeah, yeah, this he said this guy named Bodacious. Bodacious bought it, but he ain't using it. He left it here. And I said, well then just let him know that I'm gonna pay him for it. Let him know since he left it, I didn't think he wanted it. I just know he left it there. Or it was left there for him. I didn't know, but I'm new. I'm still new there, right? I'm a newbie. So I end up wearing it on stage because it was a new G string. It wasn't used or anything. It was brand spanking new. So I told Romeo Rod to tell him that I was going to pay him for it once I got done. But I'm on stage. He come in front of me on stage in front of everybody. It'd been if he waited until I got done, it'd been a different story. But he came up on the stage while I'm on stage dancing, got in my face, and I don't know what he said, but and then he walked off. And it was like I said, did he just front me out? And I just ran, I dove at him off stage, and I was about to hit him, somebody grabbed my arm, and then I got suspended. I got suspended because of the situation, but nobody had a chance to really understand what really happened because I was going to pay him for the G string, but I didn't get a chance to because I didn't get a chance to conspire. So I was suspended until the battle. This is the battle of 1988 in February in 1988. There was the battle. I was suspended. I could come there, but I couldn't dance, right? So I was coming there. I said, yeah, me and my group, we gonna come and tear all y'all up. We gonna come tear all y'all. Man, I was telling him, I said, man, we gonna tear all y'all up. We gonna win this thing. Ain't none of y'all gonna be able to touch us, right? So, and at this time, I was telling you about Ronald Ford and also Juan. Those are the last two that got with our group. we kind of dispersed at this time, but we all was together. But we, as a group, Cosmic Breaker, there's a lot of stuff happened. Like I said, I ended up going to to California, and many other things happened in between this time. I was taking care of my great grandmother. A lot of stuff happened, but we all were still close. But everybody was doing their own thing. Someone was still dancing. I was still dancing. If not with the group, I was still dancing by myself, going to parties and stuff like that. But what happened at this point in time, me, I called myself and still call myself Juice today. Juice is my performance name. And that's just performance, not male dance name, but just performance name, because that's what I do. I'm a dancer and choreographer. And my dance production group name is Juice Productions. That's why my YouTube is Juice Pro 33. 33 is when I made that website. What should I say? I get my first email. That was when I was 33 years old. So that's why I say Juice Pro, short for production, Juice Pro 33. But other than that, the Juice was my name. Ronald Ford name was Yellow Magic, and Juan Jones name was Debonair. And the name of our group was The Main Attraction. That was the name of our group, The Main Attraction. We had some dope, bad routines. We had some routines. When we came, the first one we started everything off. We did Careless Whisper by Boy George. Not Boy George, what's his name? Michael, Michael George Michaels. George Michael, we
George
did
Michael.
Careless Whisper first. And then when we did our second routine, we did Don't Stop the Rock. We rocked the house. But what ended up happening, this group called Dream Team, they politics. Everybody knew we won, but we came in second place again. We came in second place. So we end up we wanted to get the main spot, but we end up taking the last spot of the night, which is that's about 105 to 145. I think everybody had like about 40 minutes on stage for their spot. So our spot was the last spot of the night. So we won. We won. We ended up taking that spot. We actually won second place. Everybody knew we actually won. But we in '88, we was the highest group in Watts Club, Mozambique. And in that time, uh, I, like I said, I'm the type of guy people love to hate. It was a lot of things that was going on. I was getting a lot of hate situations from a lot of guys, and not really not really the women that was coming, but mostly the guys. Some people, they would. I don't know if it was jealousy or I just draw people I'm just that type of people, that type of person people love to hate. Don't know why, but hey, but I'm comfortable with me. I'm comfortable with who I am. It's just that, like my cousin said, a lot of people just don't understand me. So just like today, a lot of people don't understand me, but I know who I am and I understand me. So if a person get to understand you, then they understand who you are and what you're about. And oh, I forgot to share since we saying this. Um, there was two more brothers that ended up getting with the group as well, but this is after I left. Mostly as I was fading out the picture. And um this guy named Lil Mike, we was teaching him even when he was getting up, we was teaching him our style. And also Lil Mike's brother named Keith here in Detroit, Michigan. Keith, he can jit his butt off. Lil Mike, he's more of a DJ now, he's a DJ, and I think I just friend today. I just asked for him to be a friend of mine on Facebook. I just happened to see his thing on Facebook today. But yeah, those two I forgot to bring into the picture because as I was fading out the picture, they came in and they made a group called Cosmic Crew. They had a group called Cosmic Crew. We kept the name Cosmic, which Kedia Richardson actually brought up. He actually gave us the name Cosmic Breakers. So we went from Cosmic Breakers to Cosmic Crew, Cosmic Dancers to Cosmic Crew. That's when I broke off, ended up leaving town and everything. But when I come back, the name that they had was called the Unstoppables. That's what their name was. They still was hot around town. The name of their name when I came back is called the Unstoppables in Detroit. You know, here in Detroit, dance in Detroit. But other than that, when like I say, in '88 we was hot at Watts. On my birthday, I got on the midnight special, and I tore that stage up. You know, I had like the whole place was crowded. I had a birthday celebration going on. We had birthdays, Earth Day celebration going on. Um, the midnight special was on there doing their thing, and I got on the side, and I was like, "Can I get up?" I asked, "Can I get up?" They said, "Come on." They told me come up on stage. I got up on the side, on the back, on the side, on the end of the line. When they was after they got to doing their routine, they always go out and do a solo. Platinum Gold will always go last. So while they was on, I was on the back end clapping with them. I went out just before Platinum Gold. When I say I got off, bruh, it was like I had fire behind me when I was dancing. But it was nice, and it was one thing. But when we won the battle, this brother named Flash, you know, he's a well known what you call it, a ballroom dancer now today. But at the time, he told us, he said, "Man, y'all ain't gonna be able to hold down that 1 o'clock spot. Y'all ain't gonna be able to hold that down. Y'all ain't gonna be able to hold it down." We told him, I said, "Bro, we gonna hold it down. Watch." We said, "Watch." And this was at the beginning, right after the battle, when everybody was picking their spots. And he's thinking that we weren't gonna hold it down. It got to the point that later on in the year, like around August, no, June, July, August, September, it wouldn't get crowded into our spot. I remember we started looking out there, it would be like scarce, but at 1 o'clock, that mug would be packed because they come to see what we gonna do. And we had all type of routines that we would come with. We had one off Girl by the time. We had World Class Freak by World Class Wrecking Crew with Dr. Dre. Don't Stop the Rock. We had man, there's a few of them. There's a few more I can't even think of. One off of Better Days by it's a song called Better Days talking about grandma. Man, we had a lot of songs that we had routines off of, and a lot of fast songs as well, a lot of fast routines as well. So we held our spot down, and from that point, just was doing our thing. I ended up going to the east side, and on the east side at this place called over here on Beeland and 6 Mile. I was going to do my second my second anniversary of dancing. And it was this place that I've always seen when I was little. My cousin them used to stay on Beeland. And I used to, it's like, you know how sometimes something in your mind, I always say, I'm gonna do something like that place. It was a bowling alley. But now it was more like a place, uh, like a hall. So I ended up going there and talking to the people, and I was telling them, I said, I want to have my anniversary here. And he said, okay. I said, well, I'd like to know that after my anniversary, can I start doing something on here every two, like on Tuesday nights, you know? And they said, well, we don't think it's gonna happen, this and that. We ain't got no crowds and nothing like that. I said, I can get you a crowd. You ain't gotta worry about it. I can get you a crowd, right? So the brothers at the PC Palace, they said, well, we don't know, but you said you can have your thing here tonight, but that night, but we don't know. We have to see. We're gonna have to see. The night of my anniversary, that place was packed. They came to me and said, bro, you got it. Every Tuesday night, you got it. You got it. And what I would do is I would have like a male dance night from I think I started at 9 o'clock. People start coming in at 8, but it's from 9 to 12. I had the male dancers and all of us, we'd come in, perform and stuff like that. And then from 12 to 2, it'd be a big party. So it got to the point where men would start coming in and they would hang out in the back end, the back area, while we're doing our dancing and stuff up front. getting tipped and everything. And then afterwards, everybody just have a big party. It was really nice. It was really nice. After that is when I got an offer to come to. I'm telling you about this because it's just coming back to me. I got an offer to go to Flint. I got an offer to go to Flint, and I met a couple of brothers out there. Matter of fact, one of them is my Facebook friend as well. His name is Roderick McClure, and at the time he called himself Love God, right? He called himself Love God, and I said, man, you shouldn't call yourself Love God. You don't want to be like I'm always spiritual, so you don't want to be like a guy say, what about King Rod or something else? You don't want to call yourself Love God because you don't want to be put yourself like God. So he changed his name to King Rod. He changed his name to King Rod, and me and him start putting things together because he knew spots in Lansing, in Saginaw. We was already building in Flint, so we ended up getting together. But this woman, she's the one who got in contact with me. I think her name was Love. She was a Caucasian woman. Her name was Love, and she invited me to come out there. So I'm trying to find a choreographer. I don't know how she found me, but I'm trying to find a choreographer to teach. I'm about to have a show coming up, and I like someone to teach my dancers to dance. I said, okay, I'll come out there. Went out to Flint, got to know everybody, and everybody know the song "End of the Road," right? We got out there. I got out there. And I said, okay, I got a song I want us to do. It was me and four other guys. It was four other guys, right? So we did "End of the Road," and what I did was I told the ladies was getting ready to leave. Love and all the girls and stuff, they were getting ready to leave. And me and the guys were there. I said, okay, y'all, I'm going to show y'all this routine. And I showed them the routine, End of the Road. You know, beautiful routine. The way I broke it down is like we were singing to our woman or whatever. But the way like I said, these are routines, not freaky, but there's routines that we did. So we did I taught them the routine. We did it one time before they got there, but it didn't. I had to show them. I had to touch it up with them before we had did it perfect. When they came back, we showed them the routine. When we did that routine, we did it perfect. The second time we did it, it was perfect. They were shocked. They said we was only gone for an hour. In that hour, I showed them the whole routine, broke it down, and from that point on, me and the brothers got close. Like I said, things happen in the air. So me and Rod end up connecting. We started building, putting shows together in Flint, in Lansing. We did one or two in Saginaw. So we started doing that. Like I think it was like every week or twice a month or something like that. But we started performing and we was traveling. We was traveling. So and then what I would do, I would get the brothers that I knew from Detroit. I would invite them to come out to perform, and we would trap. Man, I'm telling you, I did some events and put some things together. Put some things together. So that is all a part of what I did before I ended up leaving. My sister invited me to come to Europe. When my sister invited me to come to Europe,
Wait, before you get into that, I wanted to ask you, now you say you and your partners they met up and you said it was 84 in Southeastern?
yeah, we in '84 when we was in Southeastern, that's when we first got together. Me, Matthew, Kedia,
Now
and
I
what
know
we
that
call
on
Peabody. His name is
Southeastern.
Dwayne Alton, but we call him Peabody.
Yeah, I know. Now on Southeastern, I know that area. That's where the Detroit Stars used to play the Negro League. They used to actually have their the Negro League baseball field used to actually be where those projects is right there off Mac on Fairview. You know that.
Matthew Fairview.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that area, that's funny you called it the cosmic, what you call it, the cosmic,
Yeah, we was called the Cosmic Breakers at that
but it
time.
was called the Detroit Stars, and they play right there. So it's just like the stars, the cosmic. Is I don't know, it's like something great about that
By
area.
that area, just like
Yeah.
Mac and Bewick. A lot and Keita used to stay right behind the store. You know about
I
Mac
wanted
and
to ask you
Bewick,
too,
right?
before 84, like what was, because I know Beat Street and a lot of movies like
I'm sorry, you're
Breaking.
going in and out. Try to say it one more time.
Hold on, let me see. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's my, let me turn the Wi
No,
Fi.
it might be my It might be my speaker, but it was going pretty good. But go ahead, say what you're saying.
I was gonna say now, '84 around that time, movies like Beat Street and Breaking was out. Is that what influenced you to get into breakdancing and these type of moves? Like, what really got you into breakdancing?
Actually, I mean, before we was dancing before Beat Street, well, before Beat Street and Breaking came out, but they was a
So you
part
was
of our.
already doing dance moves, like breakdancing moves, before this movie came out.
Yeah, we were doing breakdance and all that before that. But when they came out, because that's when it got big. That's when it really started being phenomenal. When Breaking
Yeah,
came
because they
out,
say a lot of
we
people
was
say
already see
that.
a lot of street children, street kids, whatever you want to call it. We was already doing that. But what it was is, you know how the system do. When the system hears something, they say, "Oh man, that's something that's gonna be big." So they try to make money off of it.
Mhm.
That's when Breaking came out, and that's when B Street came out. But we was already into it. We was already dancing, traveling. I remember this brother named Rico
Now I
Cortez.
wonder, is that because
He
the
was having
people from?
shows around town.
Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, say again.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Now I wonder, is that because they say breaking started in New York? All of the break dancing. So I wonder if y'all was doing it before that movie came out, because a lot of break dancing wasn't seen outside of New York. You know what I mean? So I wonder, was that because it was either people from New York was coming to Detroit and showing that, or the family who had, people who had family in New York would go back and forth and then bring it back to the, like you said, the neighborhoods. Cause
Well,
that's,
I really can't say that on the
yeah.
breaking, but
Mhm.
see, because I was jitting long before I was breaking. You know what I'm saying? I was jitting and funketeering and jitting.
Okay.
This, the funketeers and the jitters would start. Well, I can say we
I know
started
jit is
before I
a
was
straight
12.
Detroit dance. That's like a Detroit homegrown type of
That's
dance.
right.
The jit,
That's a Detroit
like
style.
how you
But
would say your friend was from Cali. He would have
yeah,
the,
now he was
what is?
breaking. He was now he even though he's from California, he was breakdancing.
Yeah, but they have a dance move that's strictly from out there. I think. What's that move that they used to see on What's Happening? The that like
Locking.
popping and lock. Yeah, like I think
Yeah. But
that's
that
something
that was
that they
that was
say.
nationwide.
That's yeah. End up all of these moves end up going nationwide, but they all start from they
In
have
certain
origin.
areas. Now, I don't know
Yeah,
exactly where most of them started at altogether because a lot of time when pop blocking is really a part of our culture, even in Africa and other places like that, it's a part of our culture. It's just that in certain places they have different type of styles. Just like this have style of music, like
well, yeah,
when
I seen some Instagram videos that was seeing like some old 1920 dancers, they doing breakdancing moves kind of.
exactly that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, everything is always connected. I'm not saying that. It was just, we trying to pinpoint certain things. All right,
But
well,
that's
yo,
on
let's
point.
get
But
into
that's
the
good. I
so
like
yeah,
the fact you're doing that because by doing that, it actually puts people in the mindset. Okay, where this come from? When this started? So,
well, yeah,
like in
yeah.
my sense in my
You
life,
always want to
how
get to the root of things as close as much as possible. You know what I mean? The
that's on
origin
point.
everything. But let's not spend too much time on it because there's a lot more things to talk about. But so yeah, this was the foundation of your dancing and how you are a choreographer. Because I could, like I said, that and one more thing I want to say about that era is was a special era. That was a special era in Detroit, especially as far as like the male dancer. Like men were doing, it was cool to dance. It was like I remember like when Ice Cube said I don't dance or something like that, and then it just started to be like a gangster thing, like how you hearing 50 Cent
I don't
say
know why the
I
thing was on. It's like almost
don't
every
dance.
other word. I hear what you're saying,
Is
but
it just you, or is it really not coming through? Like when you go and check the playbacks, is it
no, I know.
just
I know in the in the video, you're gonna be able to hear everything. It's
yeah?
just that on this end, it's just like going in and out a little bit for YouTube Live, Instagram,
Probably
and
because you got a
Facebook.
lot of things going at the same time, so your with bandwidth is it's hard to keep up. But like yeah, so I was saying though, like I know it made it a lot of rappers would make it not say it's not cool to dance. Like even 50 Cent say he just do a two-step, like I just do the two, but back in that era, like you said, from about 88 and back from 84, from breakdancing on up to, you know, maybe the early 90s
The
was
time,
dancing.
the
Even
time
with
that
rappers, even
MC
with
Hammer
a
was
lot
breaking
of
it down.
huh?
The time when MC Hammer was out there and they were
Well,
trying to.
not even just Hammer. Before that, Big Daddy Kane, he had the two
Yeah,
dancers and MC Light. You know, even with a rapper, you had two dancers, a DJ. You know, you would have
that's right.
dancers.
That's right.
Even Kid and Play, you know, he would, you know, they was doing the little kick step. You know, dancing was a cool thing to do amongst men. You know, but now it's like nowadays it's all women do the dance. You know, they doing the twerking and the clubs is women dance.
Mhm.
Know, it used to be cool, like you said. Matter of fact, I remember watching the new dance show, and they would show commercials for Watts Mozambique, and a lot of they would show like the guys, and they do a few of their little moves and stuff. And I used to be telling girls, you know, my name Tonka Toy. I'm gonna be a, you know, I'm a male dancer and stuff. Like,
Oh
yeah,
man, you know it was a guy named Takatoy that
well,
was.
now I know I stole that name. I took the name. I would say because you know I was influenced. I was still in school, like you know, 13, 14, and I would. This was my. I thought it was cool. I kind of looked up to them and said, you know, this is something I would like to do. I see they getting girls. They looking cool. They doing fly moves. They dress fresh. They would have nice routine outfits, and you know, so it was kind of cool to me. You know what I mean? But like, it's funny how that's changed now. You know, like I said, nowadays it's just you don't even see. I don't even think these kind of places even exist. You know what I mean? Or if you do exist, they be on that LGBTQ type more. The men that are doing it are more like those kind of like you know those Skittles type of dudes. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mhm.
real. You know, diabetic sweet. You know what I mean? But yeah, so you know, back then though, it was manly. You could be, you know, you be on stage and it was still considered a manly type of thing. And, you know, it wasn't really considered, you know, how they would say a sissy or nothing like that. You know, you dance.
Yeah, it was the mindset of the people because some people would be jealous. One thing is, a lot of people would be jealous because men that was dancing, a lot of women would flock to them. Now, we
Yeah,
had
but nah, even then, I never heard nobody hate on dancing back then. You know, either you just didn't do it because you couldn't dance, or
right.
you could do it and you got the girls. But I never really heard no hate. You know, it only the hate, like I said, started to come in when gangsters would say, you know, they too tough to dance. I'm too tough,
Right.
meaning like I'm too macho. Like it's not macho to dance or something. Like when you know it was already macho because, like you said, you get in the girls, you go to the clubs, you go to the all of the different city clubs, and you start busting out a jit, and people standing around you, and you know the girls want to dance with you, and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah,
And it kept you in shape.
and that too, a lot of dancers are physically fit. You take, you know what I mean? They, like you said, to lift up your body and do a lot of these certain moves, you got to have muscles. You know what I mean? In order to and balance and stuff like that, and like you said, agility, athleticism. So yeah, definitely. That's beautiful, brother, that you know that you come from that background. And I always respected that. That's how I could recognize. I say, you know, this brother moving kind of like I couldn't think of that because you brought me back when you brought up the name Watts Mozambique. Matter of fact, after this conversation, I gotta go on YouTube because I know that they post the old new dance shows. I'm gonna see if they got any old commercials for
Yeah,
the
they probably do.
yeah, because they will show the whole episode with the commercials and everything. So I want to see some old clips of the commercials just to go back down that time because that was a beautiful time. Like I said, that was a special era. That needs to be a movie in itself, just the whole that wave of time of just dancing. You know, like you said, there was a lot of movies like you said, corporate America. They try to capitalize off of it. They started coming out with Footloose, and they
Yep.
seen dancing was a thing, Flash Dance, and
Yep.
all of these different movies, breaking beats, you know, dancing. They wanted to, you know, they seen it. It was a thing. You know what I mean? People would like to dance. You know what I mean? So that's cool that you did that. You know, but like all right. So let's get back into now. You like you said. So you over there in Germany, and so yeah, I checked out some more of the videos. You had another joint, Quo Vadis. You know what I'm saying? Now, Quo Vadis means where are you going? The last video we talked about you did was Veni Vidi Vici, which is, you know, you same came, you saw, you conquered.
Let me move to what I want to do is share with you up until when I went to Germany, and then part two we can get into the whole point of on that part. Is
Okay,
that all
okay,
right?
all right. We'll do it like that then.
Yeah, that way it'd be like a build up from where I started in the part two because even though this is just dancing, to this might go to a 3 and 4 next week because there's a lot more to go with what we're saying, and this is just really bringing back memories for me just I'm glad you're asking the questions because it brings back memories for me to see the things that I've done, where I've been, because there's a lot of things that's there in those times that I'm not even talking about that could be, I mean, it's not relevant, but it's relevant. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just giving you the main
I
key.
mean, if it's just for you to have a like you said, a a history, like a this
There
is
you
your
go.
life. This is your life. You just want to go through it for you. I mean, it ain't necessarily got to be for nobody else.
Oh
I'm
yeah, yeah,
enjoying,
yeah, definitely,
I'm
definitely.
enjoying to learn. Like I said, I like the fact that you brought up the watch Mozambique because that was a super club. Like when I was too young
And
to
Henry
even go.
Palace.
I was and Henry's Palace, right? I was too young to go to these places. But I was thinking like, yo, when I get 16, because my mother and father, it was like, yo, you ain't hanging out at no, some of my cousins they could get away. They was able to. They had auntie, that was lax, so she would, they could kind of get out and go to stuff like this. But like me, my parents was kind of more strict, and all I could do was view it from TV or see that and knew that it exists and hear stories of people who went and stuff like that. But like, yeah, man, these places are legendary. I don't think even in other cities they had stuff this legendary going on. Like I don't, because I don't hear about it, and I study a lot of different cultures in different cities and things that's tied into dance and all and the urban and just culture growing up and all of this stuff in those times. And I don't think nobody was doing it like Detroit when it comes to that type of scene. Not saying that it wasn't going on in other places, but like the way it was ingrained, that was something that was super part of the grain coming up in that era. You know what I mean? Like dance and music and techno electron. Like Detroit, people don't understand. For y'all who listening, techno electronic music, which is also funny that you going over there to kick off the genre of Euro dance when that's influenced heavily. A lot of Europeans will come over to the techno fest and everything like that because they know that the root is the mecca of all of that sound is Detroit.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It was
Hmm.
right there in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? All of our DJs and that sound, man. Miami was connected to it too because they have a lot of that bass, Miami bass. So they was, a lot of those DJs, they're familiar from that era. And in Chicago with the house or whatever like that, in New York with the hip hop, the Bronx, they was playing a lot of that early Africa bamba, all of that's influencing. This is kind of like when we all shared the same thing, but was also doing our like individual techniques as cities. You know what I mean? But now everything is just like the same. No, there's no identity because the internet has kind of meshed everything together. But back then, every city had its own style and culture and just technique and was known for something. But yeah, Detroit is very special and beautiful in that sense, man. But yeah, go ahead. Now let's get back into, like you said. So now this is, you've led up to the dancing, and now, like you said, your sister's calling you, and this is right before you get ready to leave.
Yeah, and like I said, we did our performance and traveled around Flint, Lansing, Saginaw, back to Detroit. My sister invited me to come to Europe. Now, I'm going through situations with my children's mother, and I didn't want to leave my two girls, my newborn, which was Kadena, and also my 3-year old, which was Michael. But I was going through hell back and forth, dealing with it, dealing with situations like that, which is kind of personal, but and still, this is how I actually. But I also in this, I see how the Creator was leading and guiding me when you, like I always share with people, if you sit back and go over your life and just think about where you are, how you got where you are, you can see everywhere you come through your travels, how you got to where you are and the way you got there. So now I'm at this point. I'm one of the one of the ladies I met at Watts. She ended up having two of my children. This was after my grandmother passed. Matter of fact, she passed while she had a chance to see my oldest one, but she didn't get a chance to see.
Only inevitable, right? That like you're this. man that dances, you're gonna attract a woman from around this area, right? Like how you said, it just only makes sense that this is gonna add up to, like you said. But go ahead.
Yep, exactly. And that's why me and her, we ended up getting together. She ended up having two children by me just before I left. But what ended up happening was that I was going through hell with her because she would, I put it like this. I would notice that me and her, she started argument up. I was staying with her at the time. She had put me out. I stayed with my boy Antonio Hollins, which is we call Charlie Brown. I was staying with him. Then I noticed that after about 2 weeks, sometime a month and a half, she'll come back to get me for whatever happens at the house or whatever. And then I'll go back, I'll stay there. And I started noticing after 2 weeks, she start provoking an argument. She started provoking an argument. And ended up calling the police, whatever, and then put me out. So this was going on for a while, and I didn't realize it. And I started up until the time when I was about to leave. I said, "Wait a minute, I'm gonna see." I said, "In 2 weeks, I'm gonna see if she's gonna try to make something, start something up." Now, I never caught her with anybody, so I can't say that. I can say, but I can't say because I didn't catch it. But if she was messing around, but the point I'm saying is that I've really seen at this last point when 2 weeks came by after the last time she called me to come back to the house to do whatever to get things together at the house. 2 weeks later, I said, okay, yeah, I see she's doing this on purpose. So when she put me out this time, I'm getting my passport and getting everything together. She not knowing that I was leaving. So I'm over at Antonio house or Charlie Brown house. I'm getting ready to leave this night. I wanted to go by to see my children before I leave. She wouldn't let me in the house. I said, let me in, let me in. She wouldn't let me in the house. So I went over my cousin Joe's house. Went over his house. He took me to the airport the next day. That's when I went to Germany. Next time I talked to her, she wondered where the calls come from because I was calling from Europe. She said, where you calling from this number? I said, I'm in Germany. She said, what? I said, I tried to come by and let you know. You didn't want me to come out, so I'm in Germany. And it was a whole new life. Why? But before that, this is what I want to share with you. While I was going through, before I went to Germany, I was going through hell with my children's mother, and I didn't want to leave my girls. That's what I wanted to share with you before we got into that last conversation. I didn't want to leave my girl because they're my children, and so I called my mother like I always do, and I called her to talk to her about well, I'm about to go visit my sister Florine, which she was in Mississippi, but she's in the army now. She invited me to Germany, so I'm calling my mom. I said, Mom, what you think I should do? You think I should leave my daughters? I didn't want to leave my children. She said, well, Joe would be better to talk to you about that, my stepfather, my other father. But Joe could talk to you, maybe you can get some advice from him, he a man, So I said, okay, so he called me. I mean, now he called me. We and him talking. He said, well, why don't you just go? Just go. I said, yeah, but I don't want to leave my children. He said, yeah, but you can always come back. You can always come back. They're going to always be there. You can just go to visit wherever you just get away for a while or whatever. But I was just mindset, man, I don't want to leave my children. He said, then he just told me, and this is what got me. And not just the children, but her as well. But he said, at one time, you never knew them. I said, what? That kind of like, that snapped something. Same thing with my brother Reese. When I told him the same thing, he said, that makes sense. But, women would look at that harshly. But when you're going through something, when you put something in your mind to make you see something like, okay, I can understand what you're saying. But don't take it fully that way, but you can understand what he's saying. So when he said, at one time you never knew him. I'm like, dang, that like it's like snap something. It was like it like took the beep, that spell was broken. That spell that she had on me that know how to get me in and piss me off when she knew how to piss me, she knew how to push my button. But when he said that at one time you never knew him, I was like, man,
Now wait, I don't. For me, it's not clicking all the way. I mean, I understand that, but that's not to me. That's like I have a reason for why you couldn't leave.
Wait a minute. Slow it down a little bit. Say it again.
I was gonna say for me, it's not. Can you hear me good? Is it
I
going
can hear you
through?
good now.
Okay, so that part it doesn't click for me. I get where why you would have to leave, and I got plenty of reasons why it would be okay for you to just leave, even though you have, like you said, these two daughters, and why it would be beneficial and why it wouldn't be like as bad as what some people might think. You know what I mean? But the whole you at one time you never knew them, for me that's not enough because you do know them now and they're here now. So that's to say that you is that's like to say that to walk away from any of your children at all just by saying I never knew them.
No,
That's not enough.
no,
My
no.
reason for you
It
leaving
wasn't
would
to
be
walk away for good. He would just let me understand that you can go. You always because he knew I wasn't going to stay. He knew I wasn't going over there to. He
my
knew
thing.
I wasn't
My
going
thing
to
was
because my
what
sister
I
was
would have
pregnant.
told you.
The reason I was going over there mainly because my sister was pregnant.
Mhm.
She was pregnant. She already had one son, and she wanted me to babysit the oldest son because she's pregnant. She about to she just needed some help, and I didn't mind traveling. So it was just that I was going through so much, and it's what I was going through to understand what I was. You know what I'm saying? For me to understand what I was
And now
going.
that now for me, that's the reason to leave because she was already making you get out every 2 weeks and stuff like that. So it's like, how can you be stable for them anyway? It's better for you to go somewhere else and get stable or create a new way of living. That way you could really do better for them. Even if it's from in Germany, you can still be the father to them.
I
You know what I
was.
mean? Yeah.
I was sitting
Yeah.
there, oh, but check it out. But like I said, when he said that, that snapped for me. I understood it,
But
and
it
like I
made
said, when I
sense for
told
you. Yeah, at the time I get it. It made sense for you. Yeah.
for me, right, it made sense for me. Everybody don't get everything the same way, and I understand that. But when he told me that, it was like the spirit in me is like, okay, it was like whatever it was that was on me. I ain't gonna say she had a spell or nothing like that on me, but you know how when you with some, I don't know, if you know or not, but when you with somebody and they know you and they know how to deal with you, it's like something snapped to the point where no, that spell was broken. So when he said that, it gave me a chance to get away. And but when I left, I still love my children. I would send them stuff all the time. But it was just when he said it, I was like, man. So he just made me see. I just saw things in a different light. Put it like that. I just seen things in a different light. Not saying I'm leaving my children. Not saying I'm walking away from them because I love them. I kept trying to keep in contact with them. I did keep in contact with them. I would send them stuff. And this is what I'm saying. I would send stuff from across seas. When I say stuff, I mean stuff. But guess what? The mother would never acknowledge that I sent it. She took the credit for the stuff that I sent. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
All the stuff. I'm talking about doll houses. I'm talking about clothes. I'm talking about blankets. I'm talking about clothes. I'm talking about like a little car that the battery operated car. I sent that. I saw swings. I saw all kind of stuff. They never knew I sent it. They didn't find out until I came back and had a conversation with them when they was grown that I sent it to them. Ain't that something? You understand what I'm saying now?
I do, bro.
Huh?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
One more time because you went out.
Yeah, I do. I hear you, bro. Mhm.
That's what I'm saying. But when I was over there, I would have conversation and I would get highly pissed when I would get conversation, and women always take up for the women and this and that, and don't even know the comment, don't even understand what we as men went through trying to be with our children, and the women would use the children against us. So in a sense, that was the spell being broken because when they try to use the children against you, and then you make a move, and then the fact he said one time you never knew. You gonna try to use this my children against me? So I just see things a whole different. I could go on that situation right there alone with what's going on with men today. Now the women see. That's why I got my son with me right now. This, you know, that was my oldest. Same thing with my youngest one. My youngest children. Their mother was trying to do the same thing, traveling and wouldn't let me talk to them. And I'm back at home now though, traveling all around, running around the country with them. Call me every once in a while. Now he got too big. She can't handle him. Oh, you gotta come and get your child. Come and get your son. He too big. He too busy for me. He do this and he do that. He won't listen and all this and that. Oh, you want to dump him on me now when you didn't want me there, and that's just down the line. No different. You see what I'm saying? See, and this is what women are going through today because they try to use the children against the man when the man is there trying to be there for the children. Then they want to act like, but then not only that, they have the system on their side. And that was when that's kind of like when that, at one time you never knew him. That right there was like in a nutshell for all that stuff, not even knowing it, in a nutshell, that at one time you never knew him. Make my move, keep in contact. You ain't gonna let me see him. I can't do what I can with him. You try to take me to hell.
I mean, yeah, it only could be that way. I mean, you cannot punish yourself by tying yourself like to a chain and like, you know what I mean?
And
Like,
that's what that at one time you never knew him.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I get it. I do. Yes.
And like I said, that hit me in a nutshell. Cause remember, I told you I'm going back and forth. She playing games with me, back and forth,
Now I want
back
to
and
ask
forth.
you:
I'm doing
is
it.
there anything that you noticed about her looking back as a red flag, or why you maybe should never have, in the first? Not saying it like that, because everything happens for a
For a
plan.
reason,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But like, was there anything that you ever realized that said, you know what, I should have never did nothing. I should have never got with this woman because looking back at it, maybe I did it out of lust or I did it out of, maybe I dealt with her in the wrong manner, and I don't know.
It's not that because a lot of time you don't know who you really dealing with. See, she got pregnant on purpose. See, me and her knew she's on birth control and all this and that. Some of these women get pregnant on purpose because they think they can hold you.
Trap you. Yeah, no, they
And
call it baby
there
trap.
you go. You see what I'm saying?
But was
So
there anything in her psychologically, like I'm saying, that you seen that said, you know what, this woman is not gonna be good for me looking
I
back?
didn't. I
Yeah.
at that time, I couldn't tell. But afterwards, later on, I understood that she was spoiled.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see it at the time because she was all into me. You know, a person, you know how they when a person get what they want, they really, I ain't gonna say she
You
because
was
I know
kind of
I'm looking.
blindsided by
Huh?
just her. So were you saying that you were blindsided to seeing this due to the fact that she was so, I don't know.
I can't say. All I can
Yeah.
say is that she supported me. I say that much. She supported me, and I had a lot of them support me when I was dancing. Yeah. So that's one of the things that will actually get you. When a person supports you and you see they supporting you, and
No,
huh?
no, I was just coughing. Go ahead.
Yeah. When a person supports you, you think they got your back. But sometimes it could be an agenda behind it. Sometimes it could be lust. Sometimes you could think it's love. Sometimes y'all can be into each other at that point in time. Because remember, some of us, we get together for a season, and some of us get together for a lifetime. So that was the season at that time. But in that time, and I can say she did it on purpose. But I still love my both my girls that I have. I'm not saying that it was a mistake because, I'm not gonna I know it wasn't no mistake on her behalf. But on my behalf, it was like, well, you should have wore a condom. You should have did this and you should have did that. We should have did a lot of things, But we live, we learn, we know who we're with, and you think you know who you're with until you find out later. So just take it like that, and that's just the way I have to see it. And no love lost. Now it's just that.
Hey, wait, hold on. Now look, I want to jump a little bit because I remember listening to the songs after that you sent me. I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but like there's some songs that you made after the Imperial that, and one of them is "Keep It to Yourself."
Uh-huh.
Right now,
Oh, that's got a story behind it.
in the end, yeah. So I don't. That's why I don't want to ruin it by jumping in the head. But like, since I feel like we are at this point, because I know that this will be a little bit of a personal question. So since it's already personal, like I want to bring this up now, and then we can go back to actual key.
Good. Come on with it, bro. I
But like,
like the
I
way
know
you can. I
I'll
like
say
the
this part.
questions.
I'll say at this part at the beginning of "Keep It to Yourself," you give a shout out to Junior and your daughter. And then, the guy on the radio, you're talking to a guy on the radio. I
That's
don't
in
know.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay. And he just, I guess some song had went off that's called "I Hate You." And you say, I want to dedicate this to.
That's my son's mother.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm thinking this is her, the one we're
No,
talking.
no, no. That's my lad. That's when I came back home.
Okay. So then I jumped too far ahead. So let me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's to my son's mother. That's the one. Yeah, that's son.
okay. 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 Yeah. All right. We'll leave that.
Hey, bro.
We'll just.
I like the questions you asking though, and I
Nah, I
like
took a
the
lot
fact
of
that
listen. I took it seriously. Like I was gonna like be doing an interview for like BET or like you know what I mean. Like I really tried to put together something and really give my attention and focus it. Like you know what I mean.
I'm glad, bro. I'm
Yeah.
thankful because I want to bring this out because it's something at least
How
that
many people are watching? Is anybody watching?
a couple people came off and came on and came off, but it don't make a difference because
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. Even
once
if
they see
I'm interested. So I mean, because to me, like you are like a person you would see on BET because you was in Imperial and you was the choreographer, and this is just like if you on MTV or Rolling Stone magazine, like just
yeah,
if
yeah.
I was reading the article.
We just getting beat. How it was a movement. It was something on VH1 called Behind the Scenes or Behind the Music or whatever.
All of that, anything. It's just an article. This is an autobiography or
Exactly. There
like
you
you know what I
go.
mean, a biography. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yep.
we are getting into it because you are a person that is really, you know what I mean, that really was in the culture of music and in the industry, and
And did some things.
you made it
Saw
impact.
the quarter
Yeah,
of a million by first
it's
single.
only right that your story is left behind, even for your babies or for just
There you go,
anybody,
bro.
for the Imperial fans, for everybody out there. This is for them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And bruh, let me say, like, what was that for the last part before we go to part two? Because just before I
But
got
no, you was with the, like you said, so you was explaining with your first kid's mother, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
you're two doing
How
you
she was playing game. Oh, what it
yeah.
was is I was saying when my other father told me at one time you never knew her. And I said that kind of snapped me because of to look at
It just
all the
took the
stuff.
weight off of you mentally for you to just say, you know what, I can go ahead and move forward with this move to Germany and
Right,
my sister
right.
out,
Even
your
though
sister out.
even though I wasn't going to move there, it was just mainly just going there for a minute, have a nice
You
time.
didn't know that it was gonna turn into something a little bit more long term.
There
Yeah.
you go, bro. Exactly. Nobody knows. I was just about to say, nobody know how their life gonna turn out. Nobody knows what's gonna happen next. Anything can happen at any time. It's just that when you're in the moment, you just take the moment as it is, and the next thing speak for itself. So that's what ended up
Yo,
happening.
it's freezing. I don't know if it's my connection or yours, but you froze for a second. Like, but
Oh,
yeah.
really? Okay. Well,
Yeah, just it keeps freezing a little bit. I can't tell if it's just because of my Wi-Fi or it's your on your end. I don't know, but
my Wi-Fi
you're
on.
good now. Everything.
That's the same thing been going in and out with like a little bit of the with the sound here and there. But yet and still, but that's what actually made me say, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the move. I'm going ahead when he said that one time you never knew him, I said, what you mean? He said one time you never knew the children or the mother. You ain't the one. And I said, okay, so because it's something when somebody can dangle something and try to make you dance to the beat or follow the string or follow, like they do a donkey with a carrot,
Well, it's only natural that you got, like you said, even you know that, yo, regardless of what she was doing, you know that you have these two daughters, and it's like in your mind, I know, I get it. You don't want to just be like, I'm gonna just be out and go do my thing, because you know that you're responsible for them
there
now.
you
Like,
go.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know what
Right.
I mean? So I get it. But like, in order to be responsible for them, you needed to make this move because things was going in a different direction for you, and she wasn't the lady, the mother of the children was kind of like trying to take you in a backwards or a downward direction when you need.
There, you
Yeah.
just said it, bro. Because you know what? I believe this. If I'd have stayed in Detroit, I'd have been in jail. Jail. I don't know about dead, but who
Just
knows?
think about it. You wouldn't have been an Imperial. Who knows? And that's like, that was more greater for you to be a part of that than to just sit there and big back and forth, go back and forth with her over the babies. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We gotta expect. We gotta
Nah,
experience
cause like
life.
worst come to worst. I mean, even if you got to like look at it like this, listen, it's a lot of kids that grew up without their parent and they went okay. You know what I mean? At worst case scenario, and you just gotta walk away from them and never get to really raise them or see them, then that's sometimes that's just life. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's what I was saying. Exactly. Exactly, bro. Because even though, and I didn't realize
you
it,
wouldn't be the first person to have to do that. You
right,
wouldn't be the first person that ever had to do like that.
to make that move. That's right, bro. And that's the fact. So by me making the move, things happen better for me. And truthfully, it's not only better for me then, it's better for me and my children now. Because of what I've come to gain, the knowledge I've come to gain, the
Who
information
you
I've come
become.
to.
Exactly, exactly. The man, it made you the man that you are right now. Like, so yeah.
And that's what I mean by when you sit back and meditate on your life and see where you are and look at where you went through life and how you got to where you are, you can see the creator leading and guiding you if you took the right steps.
Well, yeah, life is all about 3 or 4 good or bad decisions.
There
You
you
know what
go.
I'm saying?
That's
You
right.
make a few good decisions in your life. Yo, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna do this, and then next thing you know, like you said, your life is set up in a good position for the rest of your life. You make 1 or 2 bad decisions, like you said, you make the wrong move with this person, or you go and do this thing, and now you in jail for 20 years. You know
There
what I
you
mean? It's
go.
a
There
few,
you go, bro.
and that's all backed by your attitude as well. Like these decisions are based on your attitude, so
That's
it's like,
right.
yo, that's why attitude is important, and having a positive attitude when you make a decision, it can have a better outcome. Because like I
There you
said,
go,
if
bro.
you make 2 or 3 bad decisions just because you got this poor attitude or negative energy on it, and you go and shoot someone, or you go and I'm gonna do this because, and next thing you know, now you're dead or you're in jail, or your babies won't see you, not like, or whatever like that, all because you did something so stupid. And,
Right.
but like you said, you had to take it out of the emotions of just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go over here with me and help my sister, and look what it led to. You end up being this and that and doing this and getting into that. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, man, I get it. You
Man,
gotta.
that's on point. I'm glad you. I'm now you understand when he said that. That changed my whole outlook in order for me to leave. Because if I didn't leave, who knows where I'd be now? Like you said, I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have experienced the experience that I had experienced.
Well, there's multi. That's why I look at it as multi. You have different arcs that you could go in, and like you said, it's like choose. You remember those books, Choose Your Own Story, where like you read in the book, and it's like, yo, if you want this to be the outcome, turn the page, da 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 da. Or if you want to go this way in the story, like the story, as you read the story, you can make the story end up a different way based on which pages you choose to read in the book. Do you remember these kind of books? It's called Choose Your Own
I remember
Story.
something of that. I remember hearing something like that. I
Yeah,
never read it.
it's like reading a book. You know how normally you read a book and it's just you read it from page 1 all the way to the last page straight through, and that's the end, and that's the only direction the story goes. But in Choose Your Own Stories, they were like, all right, it's like you get to a certain point in the book where you as the reader can make the decision for the character, because the author wrote two uh plot lines,
Okay.
whereas if you chose this in the story, the rest of the story is going to go this way, but if you chose to do this, the story is going to go this way,
That
and
way.
outcome.
Right.
Yeah, and so the story even has two different outcomes. It's like, and then you could reread it all over and change the way you made the decisions in the story and see how the outcome comes out. I don't know why they don't even make books like that anymore. But that's an interesting way of how I look at it. It's like,
That's
you know,
good though. You're right.
you got multiple ways you could end up, like you said, and you will never get to see them because, and we can't really go back in time and stuff like that and change things. I mean, not that we know of yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
But,
But I'm glad, be truthful, I'm glad I made the move that I did make, because to come to understand and know what I know now, um, plus there's other moves that I could have made in those moves, but I'm where I'm at because I'm where I'm at. So, like you
mhm.
said, it's many different moves and many different venues or roads to the end of our story, but the end of our story is where we end up at from what we do in our decisions that we make. So for everybody else, we about an hour and 25 in part one, and this is the first part of.
And hold on, before you end it, what's a good scripture that ties into that last thought you just said about making the decisions, and you know how we just said choosing a path? Like, what's
Would be a good scripture for that. Let me see.
yeah,
What
is there anything that you have off the top of your mind? Yeah.
my a scripture? Man, all I
If not, I mean, if nothing comes to you, don't force it. You know what I mean? Because again, in life, you can't force things. You have to just
exactly.
go with a certain flow. Sometimes we try to
The
force
only thing
something.
I can see to that, bro, is prophecy. It's just that until we don't know what we're going through, but the Creator sees it all. So all the different paths that we're going through, the Creator, it's like, put it like this, it's just like a maze, or not even a maze. It's like if you start here, but when you're going through this, might as well say maze. It's a maze once you get so far up in it, and it's got all these different roads to it, right? All these different roads, but the maze is starting off here, but then you can go up this road, and you could go up this way, this way up this road, but you can take either way. Once you get so far down that road, it can take you either way. But either in any of those ways, the creators can still lead and guide you in the way you're going. It all depends on, like you said, it all depends on your mentality. It's the way you think. It's it,
What you know, all of that. Yeah.
yeah, it depends on your mental. If your mental is a positive, you're gonna follow because the spirit is gonna guide you. But if your not your but if a person's spiritual is negative, it's gonna guide them down to a negative road, and that's gonna be on them within what they carry and what they decide and how they decide to choose their walk. So I know that in the walk that I'm in now, I could be in a different place now if I'd have followed the spirit when the spirit was telling me to make a move when I was in Europe. I could be somewhere else now. But I didn't take that, not knowing, because I was ignorant. I didn't understand. I didn't know. So by me not knowing, I didn't take that road or that walk when I could have, but I didn't know and I didn't understand. So I'm where I am now because I didn't take that other move. So I understand that. So I could be in a whole different place now. I could be, and I know that, but I'm still good to me from what I come to know from where I'm at, from what I've come to understand and come to know and come to learn in the knowledge I've gained. So I understand those different roads that sometimes we don't know what's down a certain door. Just like you picking a certain door to go around. You don't know which door you're gonna go through. One door could be down something bad, but then you could feel like, no, I know I don't need to go through that door. It's something behind there I don't need to go. But the other two, okay, I go down this one or I go this one. Who knows? So, but it's up to us to make the decision. That's the reason why it's good to get close to the Creator so the Spirit can lead and guide us the way that we need to go. And that's the reason why I'm glad I'm able to have this. I'm glad we was able last week to come across that conversation about Imperial for us to have this conversation tonight. And this is, I'm just going to probably call this, um,
Well, that's why we get the free will, you know what I mean, as
that's
well. You know
right.
what I mean, to make choices, because like you said, it could have been implanted in us to always only do this or the right way, or like even when we go the wrong way, it helps us to keep getting better. You know what I mean?
There
So
you go. That's true. We learn from the things that we make mistakes from. We learn from our mistakes.
yeah, everything, even when we do bad, it just makes us get better anyway. So it's like all of it is good. It's for the greater good anyway.
That's right. That's why you never hear me talking about the devil this, the devil that, the devil that. I don't do that because I know everything is a learning experience. No matter what it is, it's a learning experience. So a lot of people caught up with that devil stuff. But other than that, me and G1, this is, I guess we call it an interview with Mikael, or Mikael's life interview of Mikael's life, uh, uh, part one, I guess, part one and two, because we went from Detroit, now we get ready to go to Germany. But other than that, I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12, verses 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who they're really supposed to be. Waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelations 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwells, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not, because the horn is blown without a doubt. This was prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. And this was the interview, uh, Mikael's interview with G1, Mikael's life interview. I don't know how I'm gonna say it. It's gonna come for part two when we come back with part two. So we're gonna pause us over here on Zoom with G1, and we're gonna give everybody else the formalities on how to get back, how to get in contact with me or connect, and then we'll be right back with part two in a few moments. Hold on, G1. Gonna pause you for a minute. Everybody on Zoom. Peace. All right, we're back in progress. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Family Pale, Eric Harris, better known as the Juice, also known as the Alkaline Water Guy. How is everyone doing on this beautiful night? Tonight is the night after Sunday, the 14th of uh of September, which is September 14th, 2025. This is the Sunday, which is the night after Sunday, which is really the second night of the week. And where we at, this is Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation. And tonight, we got my brother G1. He's more like interviewing me, and we're calling this The Life of Mikael, Question and Answer, Part One and Two, which we're in Part Two right now. This is Part Two. And Part One, we went through my beginning of me dancing when I was in Detroit, grow up in Detroit, dancing with some friends of mine in Detroit, Michigan, the things I went through, the things that happened to me, some of my experiences and my travels. And from there, we ended with me going to Germany, right? Excuse me. We ended with me going to Germany. So I was going through a certain situation with the mother of my two oldest girls, and my stepfather gave me some advice, and I didn't want to leave, but I was going through hell. Just giving you synopsis on the last point. Going through hell with my children's mother at the time, and my father gave my other father, stepfather, gave me some advice. Said, you know, I didn't want to leave, but I was being controlled. Let me put it like that. And by me being controlled, because the mother of my children knew I love my children, and she was controlling me by the children and had the system behind her. And I was just going to leave, not knowing if I was going to stay or anything like that. And I was going to help my sister in Europe. And he told me something that really kind of snapped me out of the things that I was going through, being under a spell, you might as well say. When I say under a spell, I'm talking about, how we men, we want to do all we can for our children, but then our hands are tied. But when he said, at one time you never knew him, that there, okay, it kind of opened my eyes to a point. Not saying I wanted to leave my children, but to do better for myself. And as me and G1 spoke on, if I hadn't made that move, I could have been on a different level of life today compared to by making the move. I'm in a better, to me, I'm in a better position, but by knowing the things I've come to learn to know since I made the move. So now, um, last thing I was saying, I went by the house to see my children, just to see my children before I left. But the mother of my children wouldn't let me in. She wouldn't let me see them that night. So I went to go. My friends of mine, Antonio Hollins and Andre was a friend of his. He stuttered a lot. Andre and Antonio, which is we called him Charlie Brown, dropped me off of my cousin Joe's house and of his apartment. And I spent the night with him, which was the same apartment that I was staying at before I moved out of that apartment, going to Flint, same apartment, um, building that is. He took me from there to the airport. Next day, I caught the plane from Detroit Airport over to uh, to Germany. And in my travel, just to think about it, I'm glad to say that, just bring that up. In my travels, heading to Germany, I was in the regular point of the plane, and and it was his brother. I guess he traveled back and forth all the time, but he was a star or a big figure in the music industry over there as well. What did he call himself? Oh man, I can't think of his name right now. Mm, we saw each other when we was traveling. When I got into Imperial, we saw each other, but he told me his name. I cannot think of his name right off. But he was of a group over in Europe because we had many groups in Europe, many groups in Europe. Many Americans was a part of the groups in Europe. But at this time, I was traveling over there to go be with my sister. And what happened? They moved this brother to first class, and it started with a T. Travis. I can't think of his name. Not Trap. Travis. Trap. It's a name like my name is Juice, but I can't think of his name right now. It's probably gonna come later. But um, they moved him to first class because the people in the stewards in them couldn't speak German. They couldn't speak European, and he could speak European, and he helped them out big time. And he rode first class, and he invited me to come up to sit with him. So me and him, we riding first class. I didn't stay the whole time with him, but I stayed up there, and I went back to my seat. But I sat up there with him for about maybe an hour or two. We sat down, talked. He told me that he was performing over there, and he was of a group, and I forgot the name of the group, but this was back in '93, and this was in '93 when I left Detroit going to Europe. Uh, I sat in first class with him, and as where I was sitting in first class, me and him having a conversation. I don't know if she didn't show me a magazine or like that at the time, but we was talking. He told me it was a certain group he was with. I cannot think of the name right now, but I don't know if we changed numbers or not, but we got to know each other while he was making it. I remember his name then because we saw each other again, as I was saying, when I got with Imperial, not knowing I was going to get with him at this time. I'm taking the plane from Detroit. We end up stopping in. We stopped in uh, not New York, but New Jersey. We stopped in New Jersey, and I don't know. We went to Brussels from there. I think we may have stopped in Brussels, or we went straight to Germany to Frankfurt Airport. And that's where my sister and them picked me up. My sister and my brother-in-law, Curtis, picked me up. Now I'm in Germany. Now, me being in Germany, now I'm calling to see how, I'm still always checking on my children, see how they doing. I call my oldest, my children, my oldest girl's mother, oldest girls, which is my children's mother, called them, and she was wondering where the number was coming from. I think I called collect because uh I think I called collect because I don't think she knew the number. I don't think I called directly there. I think I called collect, and it was from me. So when I think I told them, I don't know I don't know if they saw the number or if I just told them. I said I'm in Germany. They said what? I said yeah. I was trying to come over to see say bye to the children the night last night or the night before, but you wouldn't let me in. I'm in Germany now, so it's a whole different. But she still knew how to push my button. She still knew how to quote unquote piss me off. She still knew how to make me mad. And that's something when someone knows you in order how to tick you off and make you mad. So she knew how to do that. And every time I try to call, talk to my children. She either tried not to let me talk to them or whatever. And that was just some of the things I was going through at that time. So while I was there, got to know people around and let me share with you. We was in Frankfurt, but we ended up going. I was staying in Darmstadt, Germany. Darmstadt, Germany. That's where I was staying with my sister at the time. I was there with her. I was there with her and my brother-in-law, right? So being there, um, I'm the type of person I like to get out. You know what I'm saying? I like get out and I think what it was, me and my sister, we got into like a little spat or something. And this was later on, like maybe a few weeks or maybe a month in or whatever. We was talking. I just may have gotten mad about something or whatever. So I like to go and I'd like to explore. I ended up going. I got on the trolley, the streetcar, rode downtown, walked around, just getting to know the place. Came back, everything was good. um 2 days later, matter of fact, I made it there on the 18th. I left the 17th, I believe it was. I made it there on the 18th. No, because the 19th is my mother's Earth Day. Yep, I made it there on the 18th. The 19th was my mother's Earth Day. The 20th was my sister's Earth Day. The 21st, she had my nephew, Christopher Alexander. She had him on the 21st. It's another Earth Day on the 22nd, but she had his Earth Day she had his birth. She had the baby the day after her Earth Day. It was either the day after or 2 days after. It was either the 21st or the 22nd, but I believe it was the 21st. And I think it was a friend of hers or theirs. They had one on the 22nd. I don't remember. But the whole point, something is coming up for the 22nd, I don't know, of February. But I made it over there. I left the 17th. I made it over there the 18th. And my mother's birthday was the 19th. My sister's was the 20th of February. And then they had Christopher on the 21st. That's where I believe it was. But no matter what, it was in track. It was in track just like that. And I remember getting there. I remember it rained and it snowed and rained the same day, or it rained while the sun was shining the same day when I made it there. I remember that. It rained while the sun was shining, or it snowed and rained the same day. I can't remember exactly. But um, I had a great time when I was over there. Now I'm getting a job with AFES. I'm getting a job with AFES, which is Army Air Force A AAFES or AFFE. I forgot AFES. It's the name of the company for the civilians, I believe it is, that you would get a job with. So I ended up getting a job. I ended up working within less than a month, because I made it in February. By March, I was working at Anthony's Pizza on Cambrai Fish Concern, right? Anthony's Pizza there, right? So now I'm there. I'm working. I got a job. This is in 93. Yeah. February 93 is when I left, made it over there. So now in 93, I'm there and dancing is in my blood. They had a place called Rainbow. I think that was the name of the club on Canberra. It's called Rain. I think was it Rainbow? I think it was Rainbow on Canberra Fish Army base, and I was working at the food court at Anthony's Pizza, right? And I was working there for so long, a lot of people just knew who I was. You know how you work. I remember Sergeant, not Sergeant, Colonel Voisin, Colonel Lieutenant, whatever his name is, Voisin. You know, Voisin, he was the head over that whole concern. Voisin. And I remember him telling me at one time, he said, you was like a fixture there. It was like you was a part of the place because everybody knew me, you know. I got to know I had a pleasant, pleasing personality. I got to know a lot of people. A lot of people started seeing me for my dancing talent. Then I started recruiting people, long story short, recruit people for the dance. And I end up meeting this young lady named Karen, right? Before I met her, I was friend, I ended up being friend with this girl named Michelle and Stephanie. You know, Michelle was mixed, Stephanie was Caucasian, she was German. But Stephanie was thick. Michelle was she was more like a medium size, and she was mixed. She was mixed German and melanated. I don't like saying black. So we was real good friends. We traveled and whatever. We would go around places. They would introduce me to play people and things like that. And we would go out and stuff like that. And they had a friend named Karen, right? And when I first saw Karen, to me, it was like love at first sight. Well, I'm saying love at first sight, but I was like, man, well, she fine. That's what was my thoughts. I was like, she fine, boy. But what I like is that the fact that when you inquire and when you trying to find out about somebody, you're like, man, who is that person? Who is that? And they tell me, man, she ain't no hoe. She ain't out there like that. She don't see nobody. She ain't with nobody. Last person she with was so long ago. This and that, whatever, whatever, whatever. So I seen her 2 or 3 times. She couldn't talk English. She really couldn't talk English. She said very, very little words in English. And I just let him, I say, I like you. I let him know. I'm straight up. I think you cute. I'm telling Michelle and Stephanie let them know that I think she cute, whatever. So I ended up seeing her 2 or 3 times, seeing her at the club, seeing her on the Strassebahn on the train, the streetcar. And I think we ended up getting together one night, and I seen her this third time, and everybody just sitting down. They got these little beers about that big. Um, I forgot the name of them. But they would be out there just out in the park, sitting down, drinking, or what have you, right? So we sitting out there, we talking, and you know, that night we end up getting together. I put it like that. Me and her, we end up connecting. We talked a little bit, and I introduced her to Karen. I introduced Karen to my sister and my brother-in-law, and you know, from that point on, we kicked it off and we started getting to know each other. We started hanging. I was still working, and she started seeing, she seen that I would dance at the club, but then, I started showing her some of the routines. One of them was End of the Road. Oh man, it's something I got. It's G1. This is getting ready to get good. I just thought about it, it just hit me. So me and Karen was together. I end up running to this brother named Roy. He's another brother that I ended up running into. I forgot how we met, but he got me and him became pretty good friend. We were talking, and I was telling him about me being a dancer. I said, "Why don't y'all come and and, learn this routine and what have you?" So it was Roy. Then there was another one named because it was only 4 of us. Then there was a twin. I forgot the twin name, but it was a twin. But one of them danced with us, and the other one wouldn't. He's more like, I ain't gonna say thuggish, but he was just more cool or whatever. But the other one, both of them were cool, but the other one, he liked it. Oh, it was the other one. Oh yeah. Almost forgot about it. It was another Roy, and that was the one that was with it, but it was another one, Ray. It was gonna be five of us. I'm glad I didn't forget about him. This is a tearjerker I want to share with y'all too. Ray. Now Ray could catch on quick. He catch on to routines quick. He was starting, now us five, we were starting to hang together, right? So now I'm showing them routines. The first routine I showed them was End of the Road, which was the last thing I showed in Flint before I left. The last routine I made up and showed in Flint before I left. And I forgot to share the group in Flint that we came together and we started touring. Our name was um, the Male Persuasion. That was the name of our group in Flint. The Male Persuasion. It was me, King Rod, Goldie, Smooth, and I forgot it was one more. I forgot his name. But I think it was 4 or 5 of us together. And that was in Flint just before I ended up going to Europe. Now I'm in Europe. And I ended up getting these guys I'm sharing with you now. It was me, my lady. And all these was more like they was more like teenagers or a little older, just a little bit older, around teenagers or what have you, around 18, 17, 18, 19, or what have you. So what happened was that I ended up pulling them together. It was me, Roy, me, Karen, Roy, Ray, Ray, and Tony. I think one of the boys' name was Tony or Tone or something like that. But they was twins. They were Samoan twins, right? But they weren't big. They were Samoan twins. But it was us five at first. I showed them routines, right? End of the road. Excuse me. End of the road was one of the routines. Freak Me. I remember Freak Me by Silk. Um, Together Forever by Shy. That's what we started the show off with. Um, Together Forever. Silent Prayer, me and Karen did. Me and Karen did a routine of silent shit, and it was a beautiful routine. We kind of like we stripped each other down, and at the end of it, we said silent. Like she's in front of me, and I'm right here. We put our hand together. We said silent prayer. We went down like with it, like one hand, my hand here and her hand here. Went down like that together in silent prayer. That was another one. The show was beautiful. How we got to that point was this. We started going around town. After I bring them to my sister's house, we was practicing first. And as we was practicing, now we started to go out. Now we at the bus stop. I said, okay, y'all, come on, let's do the routine real quick. Now it's dark, ain't nobody out. They shame. I said, man, come on, you shouldn't be ashamed to do the routine. Come on. And I would teach by count where you don't need no music. The way I teach, you don't need no music. I teach you by step and count, and you be able to catch everything. Unless it has a song with all the words, then you have to sing the songs to go with the moves. So you can either do one or two things. You either have a song with the moves that go to it, or you have a routine where you can just do the step and count together. So that's the way I teach. You know, I believe I'm a very good teacher when it comes to trying to show somebody, and so you can get an understanding behind it. And that's not only with that, with other things as well. So I believe I'm a pretty good teacher. It all depends on if a person is willing to learn. But we was at the bus stop. We was at Strasserbahn, which is the streetcar. We was out there. Now they were shame at first, but now we started getting into the routine. They want to do it everywhere we go. We get to we go to what they call them, a fair. What they call them, little fairs and stuff like that, but not the real big fairs. You know, that fairs they have around town. They have a lot of them in Germany. We go there. They want to say, "Come on, let's hit the routine." That's what we did here in Detroit. We used to do that in Detroit. Everywhere we go, if we get a crowd, bam, we'll hit a routine. Matter of fact, one thing we did, we was down at the when I was here in Detroit, jumped back on part one. When me, Cosmic Breakers, we went down, I think Hollywood Swingers was having a show in downtown plaza in Detroit at the downtown plaza. They was back there taking so much time. We took the stage. I mean, they was in the back. They said, "Come on," they waiting for them to come out. They was taking their time. We went on in that little spot of time. We went on stage and took the stage over. That was downtown, at the plaza, at the plaza downtown Detroit. Just to put that in. So that's the same thing we would do once they start getting comfortable and we started going around town together. We started hanging together, went around the same thing what me and my group did here in Detroit. Same thing we did in Germany. And I couldn't think of a name. So the Samoan, he came and said, "What about smooth body?" He said, "I like the way when we move, we moving smooth." And then he came up with the name Smooth Bodies in Motion. And I said, "That's a good name." So that's where Smooth Bodies in Motion came from the brother. I think his name is Tony. I believe his name, I can't remember, but I do remember Roy, Ray, me, Karen, and I can't think of his name. You know, hopefully he'll get a chance to he see this video. But yeah, it was beautiful. And this was in 93. So in 93, now we're walking around, we're doing this and that, now we're building the name. Someone took they got what they call Stars and Stripes. They got a paper in Europe called Stars and Stripes. Anybody listening to this that's been in the army, that's been over there, you know what I'm talking about. They got a paper called Stars and Stripes. They end up putting us in. They interviewed me and took a picture of us when we was out at the fair one day. Took a picture of us, and we end up doing. They said MTV like show is going to be going on a certain Saturday. I had all that, and they in one of my Facebooks, they deleted my page, and all my stuff is gone that I used to have that information in. But now, if I can ever open it back up, I can get all my stuff. But what happened was that they had an article of us having a show, an MTV like show, what have you, you know, a 2 hour show, and I think my sister Florine, which is the one who actually paid my fare to get over there, you know, she's the one who paid the fare for me to go. I just got my passport, but she paid for me to come over there. And I think my sister Florine was Florine Harris, but Florine Alexander. Now she's Masada, you know, which that's her Hebrew name now, which she's in the way of life. But she she had hors d'oeuvres. Now I didn't think about that. I just thought of the show. We practiced, we got clothes for changing. We had a stage. A lot of people came to see. I mean, the place was packed. When I say the place was packed, but what I meant to share with you, wow, it was only four of us because Ray's parents didn't want him to perform. Ray's parents, I don't know why, but they didn't want him to even be dealing with us. We wasn't no gang or nothing like that. We just go around performing and dancing. They didn't want him to be with us. So he was my best. He'd catch on routine. Matter of fact, I taught to the point, and I teach in order to get other people to learn how to teach. He was actually helping me teach them. But then he said his parents them didn't want him to be a part of our group anymore. I was like, what? You know how do you feel like you lose your star? You feel like that's man, this is my right hand right here. End up, so what ended up happening, they had an article, put it out there. I think we had about a week or two. Because when people got to hear about it, we let people know. And I think we did a couple of things here and there coming up to the show. So what happened was we got ourselves together. We had a 2 hour show. And when I say that show was beautiful, and I say it was a tearjerker, what happened, we started off the show with Together Forever by Shy, I think the name of the group was Shy. And we did majority of those routines, plus we did a few fast routines as well. But those are slow routines. Also, we did I forgot about Stay by Jodeci. We did Stay. We did together. We did. I said together forever. Stay. We did. You and I could be one after all. I will. We did that one. Um, them only two I can think of right now. But then Stay is one. That was one of my favorite routines that I did. That was one of my favorites I was doing here in Atlanta, in Detroit too. Stay together forever. Um, you and I. Man, it's a lot of routine. We did, like I said, it was 2 hours. It was 2 hours. It was beautiful. But the last routine we did was end of the road. All four of us on stage. But check this out. Check this out. It was beautiful, and sometimes it still gets me. We all on stage, right? Now, somebody said Ray was there, but I never saw him because we so busy doing what we doing. They said Ray out there, what have you, right? So the place was packed. In the road came on. Ray got up from the back of the club, back the back of the auditorium. Walked up, walked up on stage. He looked at me. I said, "Fall in." He fell in. I still feel it. He fell in. Boy, we tore it up. We had a standing ovation. That was the last song of the night. We had a standing ovation. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, it's something. Every time I think about it, bring a tear to my eye. It was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? The way he came up, we did the routine. Everybody stood up, clapped, and then from that point on, we doing little eye stuff in this throughout '93. Now comes up, I'm getting to Imperial now. It's coming up soon. Now I'm coming into '94. Now this is in '94. In '94, this is around the time of March. This is around the time of March, about the same time I started the job a year before. About the time of March, right? I'm at Anthony's Pizza. I'm working. I'm working. It was a lady standing over across the across the way, standing at the seats. The seats, the not the benches, what they call them, the little bar area. She was sitting down in the little area where they sit down and eat at, right? She wasn't military, or she was from the conversation. She's from out in the neighborhood. She wasn't in the army or part of it. So she was standing over there, and a lot of people just noticing, man, the lady just over there just looking. She's standing over there just looking. She's standing. But around lunchtime, a lot of people, instead of going to the dining facility, they would come to the over where we at the food court and get some pizza. And like I said, I knew a lot of people. I made a lot of friends there. So our line would be long. So we taking care of me. I forgot the sister name. Me, it was three of us, and I forgot what's the manager. Old guy, old white guy. He was cool. He was not president, or he was cool. And there was another short guy named Mike. The short guy, his name was Mike. The tall, older guy, I forgot his name. I can't think of his name. But he was our manager. And then it was another Caucasian guy. But no, we would handle the whole the pizzas, the orders. We would do. It was three of us mainly, and we was the team. But just before that, in '93, it was this other guy who was more of a prejudice. He was there, and he would act, and everybody knew he was prejudiced, but he tried to hide it, couldn't hide it. But we all dealt with things a certain way. He ended up leaving. Another woman around there ended up leaving. But like I say, it ended up being me, the sister. She was like a little petite young lady. She was a sister. It was another guy who was tall. What was his name? His name Nathan? I forgot his name. But he was tall. He was kind of thick, not fat, but he was kind of thick, not muscular or none. He was just kind of thick. He was tall, young. I think both of those was younger than me, or me and him may have been around the same age. Oh, I forgot Benny. Benny was the older guy. He kept the place clean. Benny, old Benny. I don't call him old, but he was a cool brother. He was an elder, but he was cool. Had his Cadillac that he would ride around. He stayed over there. You know, um, him and he was married. He would make the lemonade, and I would make it every once in a while. Then he'd keep the place clean. That's Benny, but that just hit me. Just saw Benny's face. Benny, Mike, he'd be more like he's more like the handyman around there. I think it's Mr. Heminger, what I think his name was, which was the manager over at Anthony's Pizza where we was at. But other than that, we three took care of everything. Me, the sister, and the other guy that was the tall guy. I don't like saying white and black, but I think he was German. But I don't like saying white and black. So, I think he was German. But the point is, but he spoke English well. He spoke English well. But we took care of that. So, like I was saying, now we in 94, around March of 94. The woman is standing over across from us, and we're doing pieces. We taking care of the line, everybody coming through. And that's another story. So if something just hit my mind about me making sales about the mugs. It was Super Bowl mug that was coming up, and I was making the sales with that. I was doing the sales pretty good. But she after the line died down, she just over there like she was just nervous, and everybody's like, "What's wrong with her?" We was wondering, everybody was wondering, but nobody said nothing because we was working, but we was noticing the lady over there. So we're working. The line dies down. So we working and we working. So she happened to come over there where we're at, and she come over there. She asked me, said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, yeah, yeah." She said, "I hear you're a choreographer." I said, "Yes, I'm a choreographer." She said, "Who do you teach?" I said, "I can teach anybody. I can teach almost anybody. If they can step and count at the same time, I can teach them." Said, "I need a choreographer." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, but these are some girls. Can you teach girls?" I said, "Yeah, I can teach." She said, "Well, I have a cheerleader team. They don't have a routine, but they have a song they want to make a routine off of." I said, "Okay." She said, "But they don't have a routine. They don't, and they're going to have a game coming up soon, which is like about a month or something like that." So I just had to get. I said, "Well." Said, "Well, would you mind teaching them?" And she said, "I'll pay you and this and that or what have you." I said, "Well, we'll see. I'll come." Said, "When you want to do it then?" So we arranged it for the next day. We arranged it for the next day for me to teach. And the name of the team was the Darmstadt Diamonds, which like I said, we was in Darmstadt. This was a cheerleader team, but they was young cheerleader team. These was like teenagers, you know, and I think it was eight of them, right? It was eight young ladies. So I go the next day. I don't know if Karen was with me at the time. We was together, but I don't know if she was with me when I went. So we went, or I went, and because I know I told Karen about it. So I went. I think she might have been with me. She might not. I don't remember. But the lady was there. So they played the song 10 years before it came out in the movie Madagascar. You got to move it, move it. You got to move it, move it. You got to move it, move it. You got to move it. Boom, 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 boom. I said, okay. So I'm listening. Now, this was in 80, 90, 94. Right. Yep. 94. This is in 94. So, and it was done by Real to Real. The name of the group that made it, or the two guys that did it, was called Real to Real. So they made the song, You Got to, Move It, is I think it's called. You got to move it, move it. And that's what the original uh song actually came from, right? So I said, okay. So I'm listening to the song. I get them together. So I had with their pom pom. Doom, 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 doom. And then I had them step. step, throw this pom pom down. I had to do a routine. I had him bend down, pick it up, and flip in the line. It was tight. I ain't made it like that on the spot, but as I was, I think about maybe that day or within 2 or 3 days, the routine was together. So, so the lady that introduced me or came and got me for the Darmstadt Diamonds, she said, "Well, I know somebody in the business, and I think they need someone to choreography for them, but I know somebody in the business I can introduce you to." I said, "Really?" I said, "Okay." So she said, "What I'm gonna do is we're gonna go out to the field so they can do the routine in the field, and I'm gonna bring him so he can see you with the girls doing routine or what have you." Now, for some odd reason, people like to act funny around people. Now, the eight was doing good, and I was showing them the routine. We get out in the field, open field, where they're supposed to do the routine, right? So I'm showing them the routine. I'm doing the routine, right? I'm telling them to do the routine. He's standing there. He just watching. His name is Tyrone Benson. This is where Keep It to Yourself gonna come after we did our tour. But that was later. But this is where um, we on the football field. And I'm showing them the routine. One of the girls just started acting all sassy, like she don't want to do it. I like, wait a minute, hold on. I said, "What you messing up? Do the routine right." And she messing up on purpose. I said, in front of oh boy, because they knew she brought him to come and see me to see them. "Why are you messing up?" I said, "Okay, I'll tell you what, come here." Now, they was doing routine, but they never saw the routine. When I showed them the routine, they was doing it, but they never looked at themselves doing it because I didn't have them doing it. I didn't want them to see themselves as of yet. So what happened was the one that was messing, I said, "Come here. You ain't messing. This is my craft. This is I take pride in what I do. This is my craft. You ain't messing up what I do." I said, "Come here. Stand to the side and you look." So now I had 7 of them doing it. She, boom, boom. They started, and all of a sudden another one started messing. I said, "Come here. Come here. I don't know what's wrong with y'all today. Step over here." Stepped her over there. Now it's 5 of them doing it. I mean, 6 of them. It got down to 4 of them. Now, the woman that got me, her daughter would catch on quick, and she was serious. She had a daughter that was part of it. But it got down, I took 4 out standing to the side, and I had 4 doing the routine. And I said, "Listen, y'all, this is my craft. Y'all ain't gonna be doing that. Y'all ain't gonna mess up my work, what I'm doing. You see how they look? They still look good without y'all." That's what I told them. They still look good without. Y'all don't even have to be a part of this. It's gonna be just them fault. They went back in because they seen how the routine looked. They were shocked because when they seen it, like, because they had a chance to see how it looked without them being in it. Now they see how it looked with them being a part of it. So they were looking, so they got back in. They did the routine. They did it perfect, and he okay, yeah, yeah. Well, I got one more person Tyrone Vincent. Well, I got one more person I'm supposed to check out and see. I said, "Okay, bro, but just let me know. If you want to, just let me know." I'm not one, I don't kiss people butt. I don't suck butt. I don't do that. Like I always said, if it's for me, it's for me. If it ain't, it'll happen when it happens. You know. So, I don't know if he was looking for me to be like, "Oh, I really want it." No, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. I don't know if he was looking for that or not. But the whole thing is, I said, "Okay, just let me know if you're interested. If you're interested and want me to help you out with whatever you're doing, let me know." So 2 or 3 days later, he ended up calling me back and said, "Well, the other guy didn't work out. So yes, I like your work. This and I like what you did with the girls on the field, and talk to me, what have you, right?" So bam, we had a conversation. He said that he wanted me to be the dancer at this time. I was the hype man choreographer. I'm just telling you what I was before I got there. But I ended up being the hype man, choreographer, rapper. When I mean by rapper, I don't mean rapper on the song at the time. I meant rapper as in when we do live shows, I would get out there and I would just freestyle. That's what I meant by rapping. I would freestyle. I was the choreographer. I was the hype man. Cause when they would sing, I'd be hyping it up, and like I said, I was the choreographer. So we end up, he said, well, we got a studio in Frankfurt. The producer rented a studio in Frankfurt, right? I said, okay. He said, well, I heard the song and I don't think the song is gonna be a hit. But what we're gonna do, we're gonna make them for the money. That's what he told me. You know, he's a schemer anyway. But Tyrone Vincent, that whatever he is, it is what it is. But what he told me, he said, well, we're gonna be going. I said, you know what? I said, if it's got a beat and I told him, I said, if it's got a beat and I can dance to it, it's gonna be a hit. I told him that. If it's got a beat and I can dance to it, it's gonna be a hit, right? So bam, end up we started listening to it. Bum, 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 bum. No, it was dum 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 dum. It was Imperial. Name of the group was Imperial, but the name of the song was Veni Vidi Vici, which means I came, I saw, I conquered. Right? That's what Veni Vidi Vici means. So I didn't know it at the time. I just knew that, okay, I'm just giving this group and I'm hearing this song. So I choreographed. It was really me, Tyrone, and two women the first time we performed. And we performed on the raft. We rolled out to Vienna, Austria, and they had a raft when I say a literal raft, I'm talking about wood, not planks, but wood rolls or what have you, rolled together, just like I'm talking about like a real raft. Like you put a raft and then you out there, you trying to, there was a raft, and they wanted us to dance and perform on that on the water. Man, I was like, couldn't really dance on that. You on water and you couldn't really move, you know. I couldn't really get into it. The two girls, that was their first and last time performing with us. That was their first and last time. Um, we was on the water. We end up after that night. No, after that day, that night we went out. I remember. We went out. We were always after we would perform that either because that was during the day this time. That night we went to a club. We always go to a club, and that's when I was in the background. I'm just a dancer, right? Quote unquote, really. I'm just a dancer, hype man, whatever. I'm really not dealing. Tyrone, he's dealing with he's dealing with Norbert. Norbert Reichert was our producer name. Norbert Reichert. He was dealing with Norbert, right? And I really know him. And then I met him a couple of times, well, once or twice. I really met him, but I really wasn't connected. So I'm only getting like a dancer's pay while he and I guess the girls, whatever, at first. I was agreed to what I was getting as a dancer. So that night, when I was at the club, I was getting off. I mean, I was dancing, whatever. I broke something down. I broke it all the way down to the ground, went to the ground, and popped back up. He said, "That's what I want." That was Norbert said, "That's what I want. That's perfect. That's what I want." From that point on, he was in love with me. He loved the way I danced. He loved the way I hit the floor. He was in love with me. When I say in love with me, he loved the way I danced. And like I told Tyrone, if it's got a beat, it's gonna be a hit because that's my thing. Music is like in my blood. Dancing that is. So after that night, I said, okay, now I'm feeling more comfortable because Tyrone, he wanted to try to have rings on me. He wanted to be like, okay, you only gonna do this. He wanted to change my name, try to tell me I could. I said, my name is Juice. Juice is my performance name. Well, we gonna call you Juice. We gonna do this. End up falling in line. My name Juice. You ain't gonna tell me who you think you is. This dude was trying to own me. You ain't doing that, you know. So what ended up happening was the next time we came out from Germany, because we would travel from Germany to Austria. It would be like a 6 hour ride, right? Cross country. We'd rent a car, travel from Frankfurt to Wales or any part, a certain part over in Austria. We go out there and then we'll meet Norbert and then we get ready for the shows. Now, this is when we end up meeting Manuela. Manuela for the next performance. We end up meeting Manuela. And I think this is when this was my Earth Day this time. That was in June when I got with him with the group. In July, I believe we had our first performance. And August was the second performance because this was my Earth Day. And this is when I met Manuela. When I met Manuela, I remember them talking about Witches Mountain. It was a place in Austria called Witches Mountain. They said, yeah, you see the nose there? And yeah, that's Witches Mountain. That the people was talking to me about. And we was near what they call it, a ski, not a resort, but a place where they go on the water with the skis and stuff like that. And this was my first time ever getting on water skis. So me, like I say, I like to explore. I was in the hotel. I get out during the day, but when doing nothing, I went out walking and looking, and end up going to this place and meeting these people. Told them that I was with the group Imperial and we'll be performing. They said, "Yeah, we'll be over there tonight." I believe what they said, but I said, "Yeah." I said they let me get on for free. They said, "You ever ski?" I said, "Never." Would you like to try? I said, "Yeah, I like to try." I never did. They gave me a vest. Got out there. They said, "When you got to keep your knees bent, like in the bent position, and hold your arms straight, and just ride the waves." Boy, every time they put, I kept hitting the boom. They were laughing. Boom, boom, right? So ended up, I think I left. I came and said, come on back, come on back. They had cameras this time. They had cameras the second time because they wanted to catch me again. But this time I had it. Riding the waves, putting one foot up in the air, putting the other foot up in the air. I ain't taking my arm off, but I had it. Second time, they said, "Oh, you got it this time." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I hope I see y'all tonight." So I don't know if I saw him that night or not, but we did perform, had a great time. And then that was in August. That was the day of my Earth Day. I think that was my 27th Earth Day. I think that was my 27th Earth Day then, when I was with Imperial. And I think that was my second show. And I remember we did a few shows, and like I said, we just growing momentum. So, like I said, Tyrone Vincent was acting like he was trying to control me, right? So we riding home one day from a tour. We riding home. You there, G1? You there, G? Because you asked about the keep it to yourself. I'm about to give you that understanding right now. What happened is we're riding home. We're traveling home from Austria, from performing or what have you. So now we traveling home. I'm trying to, he trying to tell me about me and trying to tell me. I mean, this guy's trying to tell me he don't even know me like that. We getting to know each other, yeah, friendship and all this and that, but he's trying to tell me about me, trying to like he telling me and he know me, and I'm like, bro, hold on, wait a minute. I'm trying to talk to me, but no, don't say nothing. Don't. He's trying. I'm like, well, hold on, bro. I'm like, so I'm getting to the point. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, keep it to yourself. Keep it to yourself. So I'm just quiet now because I don't want to start arguing and stuff like that because this dude is trying to act like he controlling me or whatever because I guess he think he done found me or what have you. But just in my mind, keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself is in my mind. That's where the song Keep It To Yourself came from. Keep it to yourself was in my mind when he kept trying to control me, control the conversation, trying to tell me this and tell me. I said, it ain't like that. But he's the one who got me here. He's the one who, you know. Now I'm like trying to see, okay, where I'm going and where we at. So we coming home and keep it to yourself is in my mind. Now I'm the driver because I got a license. He didn't have a license, but yet and still he's too busy doing all this and this. So keep it to yourself stayed in my mind. When I got home, the first verse just came out. I just made song. First verse came. By the time I made it home, or before we made it to the next uh sound check, which was the next time we went to Europe, right? Now at this time, I'm not in because I started with Imperial before I went to the Darmstadt, before I started working at the dining facility. Now I'm at the dining facility. I've migrated from Anthony's Pizza. Now I'm working over at the dining facility. They knew that I was doing performances, so they would allow me to leave for the days that we had tours. Because and then there was another woman that was doing stuff with Luther Vandross. She would tour with Luther Vandross, so they would let her do it as well as I would go and do my thing with Imperial. So I just threw that in because it had a lot to do with the dining facility as well. But the point I'm getting at is that now I done kind of got my first song together for my not the whole song, the first verse to keep it to yourself. So now we go on the next tour. Go on the next tour. We in our hotel room. We all getting your voice together and whatever, whatever. I made a song called Far Away from Home. I came up with an idea of a song for that. Far away from home. You got me far, far, far away from home. I miss my children, and I'm feeling all alone. Welfare's got me uptight. Unemployment got me up all night. That's how I started it off. I still remember that much of it. But yeah, that it was called Far Away from Home. But when we went to go sound check, while they was doing their octaves and stuff like that, and the beat when the beat came on, so we all had mics. I always had my own mic, right? So they up on the stage, and I'm walking down the steps, and I said, "Keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself." Keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself. Let me tell you what's going around town. People always trying to put me down. People always talking this and that and don't even know the real fact. They only ask what's going on before they start talking stone. People always trying to talk quick. And they always trying to be slick. Keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself. And that's it. They got quiet. I stopped and I turned around. They both looking at me like this. Mouth wide open, eyes buck. Both of them, but they heard me loud and clear. After that, I ain't had no more troubles out of Tyrone Vincent. Now he's plotting to get me kicked out. See what I'm saying? He's plotting to kick me out of the group now. I didn't know it. Jealousy sitting in. I'm like, we a group, we a team. Come on, let's build and make this thing happen. Now, all of a sudden, now after this day, now all of a sudden, boy, you got to try to meet me out there. I had to catch him a couple of times on the way out there. Then he actually left me when I had to find my way out there. Jealousy is real, y'all. The real jealousy is really real. I'm like, we a team, we building, we doing good. I think at this time I did that, but I think that was before, that was just before, or that was right after, because it was September. Nope. I think that was yeah, that was afterwards because it was September when we got we started in June together, July, August, September we was nominated or we end up getting the a gold plaque. We end up getting a gold plaque. Vinny Beanie BC, a gold plaque showing that we sold 250,000, which is 250,000 of our first CD of our first single, which is Beanie Beanie BC. We all got a gold plaque. Right, I couldn't make it because I couldn't make it that day, whatever. One time they ended up going to Paris. I couldn't go there because of work schedules and stuff like. They still trying to hold me down. But that's another point of view of it. You know, just thinking on everything on the timeline from where I'm at. So end up getting y'all gotta excuse me, I was doing some cleaning, so I can't get this wet. So I'm doing some cleaning. So I'm finish up when I'm done. So now we end up getting the gold CD. Then what happened? See, I think this was after all this was after the first video. Now, got the we did the first I think the first one or two was in July, August, September. We did about two or three different because I told you on the day of my Earth Day, the day before my Earth Day, the first one. And I think we did one or two up into the nomination for our gold plaque before we got to go. But that was in September. In October, the first week of October, or the first weekend of October, we had to go and do the video, Vinny Bitty Beatsy, the video. So we got our gold plaque. So we won. We sold more. We sold 250,000 before we even did the video, right? But the video was done in October because I remember because the following year what I went through. But this is where just before we did the video, what happened was throughout in that week, I was at the dining facility. I was working, and we did a half a day. We did a half a day at work, and then I came home. So I'm looking for Karen to cook. You know, usually I cook sometimes, but I'm looking for her to cook when I got home. I get home, she not there. So okay, I'm waiting around, right? It's a lot more I've done. I didn't really go into like, other things I've done as well, but don't pertain to dancing and stuff like that. But a lot of other things I've done that's gonna come out maybe later. But I made it home waiting, she ain't there. Waiting, she ain't there. So I'm like, man, this ain't like Candy be going like this. And it's a half a day. So I get up, and like I said, she wasn't a hoe. She wasn't out there. And I heard that from multiple sources, not just her friends, several people that knew her. Oh, I'm like I said, I'm pretty known around the community. And they were telling me that she ain't like that. She ain't no hoe, this and that, and this and that. That was before I even got with her. But I would ask about her. I was inquiring about her. And a lot of people, when I got with her, man, how you get her? How you I get together? How did you get her? How did this and that? How did that? I know my steps is of the creator and everything is happening accordingly. You know what I'm saying? So, but when we got together, we was together. So at this time in October, the beginning of October uh, of 94, beginning of October of 94, beginning of October of 94, I went home. She wasn't there. So, like I was saying earlier, I got up, so I went to her job, where she worked at, right? And all of them is all German. She worked at the Straßenbahn where the streetcars work at, where streetcars work from. I went there. So I said, is Kaden book here? Is Kaden book here? They no Kaden. And one guy said, Kaden? Yeah, her leg clink. I said, Kaden? Yeah, her leg clink. Yeah, she's at the clinking house. Her leg clink, she's at the clinking house. And clink means broken in German. Crank means broken. Her leg is broken. So by her leg being broken, she's supposed to be at the cranking house, which is the hospital. So I left there and I don't think I was driving, I was taking the book. I think I walked around there. I don't know if I was driving at the time, because I was driving. I was traveling. But I don't know at that time if I was driving or not. I could have been driving because it wouldn't make no sense for me to take the train and I'm already driving. So I probably parked the car, then I probably went to the cranking house and she wasn't there. So I started looking around downtown. Why? This is why I'm saying that something I didn't mention. We smoking hashes. We smoke hash. We would smoke hash. So I'm walking around down. I said, man, she be around here probably trying to buy some hashes or what have you down the way. So we walking around, we looking. I'm looking rather. I don't see her. I mean, this ain't like Karen to be gone like this. So I ended up going back to the house, to the apartment. So I ended up going back to the apartment. Now I'm at the apartment. I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, this ain't like Karen to be gone, but I'm still waiting for her to come on and cook. I'm not worried because she's a good woman. And she ain't never showed any signs of cheating. So Jürgen, her younger brother, comes in. And Jürgen, he don't speak. He's learning very just by me being around. He's learning English. He don't know. He don't know any English neither. Now she knows a lot more because she knew Stephanie and Stephanie and Michelle. They spoke English well, but by them speaking English, she was around them, so she was picking up on English before me and her got together. But we was able, and more me and her got together, she learned. She taught me some German. I taught her English, right? So I'm in the house, Jürgen come in. I said, Jürgen, you mind coming with me? I said, you seen Karen? He said, no, he seen Karen. I said, you mind coming to me? Because he speak German. I said, won't you go to the they said Glenn Karen leg crank. He said, what? I said, yeah, Karen leg crank at her job. Her job said her leg crank. I said, you mind going with me and we go? He said, yeah, come on, let's go. He got together. Jürgen was cool, brother. I like Jürgen. Jürgen was a cool man. I mean, he was cool. You know what I'm saying? He was like one of the cool boys. You know what I'm saying? I like Jürgen. Um, so we left. I'm sitting outside. He going in and he going to talk. Now, the video is coming up this weekend. I'm sitting in the car. He's going in and he's talking to them. I'm sitting in the car and I'm contemplating, I'm meditating really. I said, if her leg broken, should I go do the video or should I stay home? Should I go do the video or should I stay home? I said, man, this is my chance. This is the chance I've been waiting on, and this is my time now. This is my time. This is what I'm contemplating in my mind. This is my time now. This is my chance to really make it. We've been talking about this when I was in Detroit all the time. We talking about trying to make it, and this might be my time. And I was thinking, well, she been too good for me. It's like two sides of my mind, talking to me. I'm talking, and I'm contemplating. Well, she been too good for me to leave her. And she's been a good woman. Should I leave her if she got a leg broken to go do the video? But this might be my chance. This might be my chance. I'm saying this on my mind. So I just said, should I go do the video or should I not? Should I do the video or should I not? And I made up in my mind right then. I said, I tell you what. I said, well, I said, I'm gonna stay at home with. She been too good of a woman for me to leave her to go do a video. I said, if it's meant for me, it'll happen. So I'm gonna stay at home with her. But if it's meant for me, it'll happen. If it's meant, right? And I made up my mind. Soon as I got done with that, you can come back outside and said, kind of leg clank. See, after clinking out, I said, dang. I was like, dang, there go my chance. That's what I thought in my mind. Dang, there go my chance. But I made my mind up. So we riding down the street. As we're riding down the street, I'm going to the crank out. My mind is still focused. And you're getting right here on the side of me as I'm riding. Then it was like I seen out of the corner of my eye Karen and Susan, which is another friend of hers. I'm riding. Karen said, Jürgen said, there go Karen and Susan. It was like a light went off in my head. I said, yeah, it was them. Like I seen them, but I didn't see them because I keep my eyes on the road. So I made a 3-point turn. I pulled up. I said, Karen, get in the car. Get in the car. Get in the car. Susan and whoever else was in the back, she got in front with me. Jürgen was in the back. I said, Ken, it ain't like you be gone all day. Where you been? Where you been? Where you been gone? Where you been gone? And now I'm traveling heading back to the house. She said, we just went and got a donut. We went and got some hashies and we got some donut. We just went out for a minute. We just gone. We get some donut and hashies, right? I said, Ken, it ain't like you be gone. There's something wrong. You be and then next thing you know, I kind of really I was fasting. I didn't even realize I was fasting because I never fasted before. But I fast not knowing I was fasting because I hadn't ate anything all day. I got up got myself together, went to work. We did a half day. I came back, been at home all day, had nothing to eat. Went and looked for her and everything, hadn't ate anything, not realizing I was fasting. And this is around the time of the Day of Atonement. I didn't realize it and I didn't know it. All I knew is that she wasn't home. It wasn't like her to be gone. And it was just shocking. And then see her and Susan walking down the street eating a donut, and she had another one for me. But but the whole thing is, so I pulled up in the apartment complex. They get out. I'm tired. That's why I say I'm fast because now I'm weak. I'm tired. I'm like, okay, Karen, I know you. I know you faithful. I know you good. It's all right. I'm good. I'm good. She, yeah. Well, we just went and got a donut. She was real innocent. She don't know what's going on. So I park. Me and her, we get out. Now everybody got out in the back end. I park. Me and her get out. I'm walking towards the apartment building. She behind me. As I'm getting close to the building, I don't know if I ever told y'all about the shower of blessing. I felt this like ointment from the top of my head come down over my face and down my body. I said, Karen, it was a test. It was a test. It was a test. I said, it was a test to see if I was going to leave you or if I was going to go and do the video. And I passed the test. I passed the test. It was a test. And she came, she was hugging on me and she was wiping my tears off me and she was hugging me and kissing me. And she really couldn't say nothing. I'm telling her it was a test. It was a test. I said, telling her I love her and stuff, hugging her and stuff like that. And she wiped my tears and stuff. And then when we got in the house, and then as our friends came by, she said, God touched Mike tonight. God touched Mike. God touched Mike. I said, yeah, it was a test. It was a test. It was a test to see if I was going to be selfish enough to leave you or if I was going to stay or if I was going to go and do the video. And I passed the test. So that was my first anointing. You there, G? Hope you went to sleep on me. If you have, we're gonna go with part 3 and part 4 next
Yeah,
week.
say yo, bro, we gonna have to this we extending it. It's gonna have to go to 3 and 4.
Okay,
I was just
great,
trying
great,
to
because I
let you
got a
know
lot more
that.
to go.
Yeah,
That's
because I
cool.
got mad things that we ain't even get into, bro. Like we ain't touched
Okay, good.
none of this.
I'm glad I'm telling the story so you can come back and ask more questions from one of the
Well, I
stuff that
kind of wanted to go in a certain the order with it, but like you kind of just kept going, so it was just like, yo, I'm gonna just let him just tell it how he want to tell it.
Okay,
Like,
cool, cool. I'm glad I was able to share that, man, because that's how Keep It To Yourself came about. And that's when I had my first anointing. That's when I had my first, and now the weekend come when we did our first
well,
video.
yeah, I want to get into all stuff like that, but it's like it was a certain way I wanted to get to it, but like but yeah, like you kept, you was going and going, so I was like,
But
yo,
I appreciate you allowing me
yeah.
to say it. Let me tell you about the video, and then if you want to ask a couple of questions, or we can just go to next week. We can do it. We can pick it up.
Like yeah, because I would want to get them all off, and that's like, nah, we can't extend it now because it's already been. It's like we had 12.
I got you. I got you, bro. I appreciate you though, bro, because you got me hyped on this right here, just sharing the story.
Well, no, I'm glad you, like you said, it's giving you a chance to like go down memory lane and really think about it all. You know what I mean, and process it all. So yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro, for real. Cause I'm thinking on some things, man. There's all kinds of stuff coming to my mind. There's even stuff that I've forgotten that's coming, but just this right here just brings stuff to the
yeah, I'm
forefront.
gonna have to just go back over it though. Like I know you already touched on a lot of it, but like the way in the order, I'm gonna have to just, we probably have.
Yeah, that way you can ask questions about certain things, and I can kind of go into it a little bit more.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, at least
That's
it's
gonna be on point.
giving
But
the.
just to share, what I do is I end it right here with the video now, and then we're going to we'll pick up next week on open conversation on next Sunday. But
No
what I
doubt.
was going to share with this now come the Sabbath or Saturday. I didn't know it was Sabbath at the time. Now we're doing the deal. This is BDBC. We're going to get ready to do the BDBC, the video. So now, and I invited her to come with me for the first time. I invited her to come with me. I didn't know how the video was gonna go. She knew I was gonna do the video. I invited her to come. Um, so we go. We here. This is Cologne. Germany. Cologne, Germany. This is where we went to shoot the video in Cologne, Germany. And while we was at Cologne, Germany, we had a hotel and everything, but we ended up going to this place, more like a place where you can work out at. And matter of fact, we was like in Roman gear, you know what I'm saying? Like a toga, but this was more like orange or brown. I actually took a picture. Me and my mother was talking about it a few days ago. I actually sent her the pictures. I ended up using the pictures for something and lost them. She didn't want me to she didn't want me to take them, but I don't know how I lost those pictures. I don't know where they went or I don't know what happened to them, but I lost those pictures with me and her on them. But what happened was me and her, we took a picture. She had all white on, and I had my toga thing on, and we was working out a little bit. My arm was thick. And we took some nice pictures at the time. And I sent that to her, to mama, and other pictures out, and many magazines that we was in. I sent them out to a lot of people here in the United States, and some of them got them, some of them didn't, some of them may have seen them. I don't know, but I sent the magazines and stuff here as well. But at this time, we went we was at a hotel, went to a place to like this little gym area. I was doing a little workout or what have you. We left from there and went to this like abandoned building where they have to set everything up. And when you look at Beanie Beanie Beachy, you'll see the place was made like a Roman style type of situation. And it was like like orgy and all this. It was Rome. I didn't know what it was at the time because all I knew was just I'm performing. And then I come to understand that this is something like it has something to do with the Bible. That's all I knew. I didn't know what, and it was good or bad. All I knew it had something to do with the Bible. That's all I knew. So, and I just knew I didn't even really know it was wrong until we just really more I got into it. Then okay, it's the Roman style, and then they always had those two pillars, those Roman pillars. That was more like our signet, the two pillars. So um we went there, and I think, yeah, we went there. We all performed. I performed. They were singing, and then the girls that was there. No, that's the first time I ever heard of capoeira. Capoeira, dancing, fighting style. That's the first time I ever heard. They introduced that to me there, at the video. It was a lot of women there. They um they couldn't dance. I don't know if they were models, but they couldn't dance. So I had to show them how to pump like that, and just trying to move a little bit, just pump. You know what I'm saying? So they asked me to show them that. So I actually, when you see a lot of in that video, matter of fact, it'll be in. I'm gonna have all those links to my videos and my songs as well. Will be in the um in the post. My songs and stuff will be in the post. I'm gonna make sure they're gonna be in there, so y'all can pull them up and check them out from the post. But so I showed them how to pump and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was sitting down. You see, I had curly hair. I had a golden cup, and one time in the video when we all like we orgy and what have you, I had a golden cup. It's like I'm drinking out a cup like that. Karen was jealous. She was mad. When I say jealous, I didn't know it was gonna be like that. I just knew we was doing a video. I didn't know. Boy, she was just them girls was eyeing me. I didn't pay no attention to my woman there. I ain't, but dang, it was a trip. She was jealous. Do you know she was so jealous that night when we was at the hotel room? I had to leave out the hotel. She was so jealous. We was bickering and stuff. I had to leave and go outside. I had to go outside. I'm standing outside by the wall, and end up Manuela and a group of girls coming down the walkway. Say, hey, Mikael, what's going on with Mikael? What's going on? And I said, nothing. There's nothing going on. It's just, you know, and I think from that point on, I only think I may have brought her to two, maybe three more of our, if that, of our not videos, but tours, just bringing on a tour. I think maybe once, once to three, between 1 or 3 times after that, she came with me because I'm saying she was jealous, and I wasn't even thinking about, all that. The girl was looking at me. I wasn't, but she was jealous. She was jealous. I didn't know it was gonna be like that, and did nothing happen. But yeah, when we was down there in there with all the girls and stuff like that, and she was jealous. It looked like I guess it looked like a real orgy, but it wasn't. Everybody seen that it wasn't. But she was jealous. She was red hot mad, boy.
Hey yo, but you didn't give your girl no special attention after she felt like that,
Of
bro. Like
course
you
I
didn't get like
did. Of
you didn't.
course
I'm
I
saying
did.
after y'all got to the room, like
Huh?
you ain't make love to her or nothing. Be like, listen,
Bruh,
baby,
we couldn't. She was too mad.
that's how you get her to not be mad. Is be like,
No,
look,
bruh,
baby,
listen.
I brought you to show
Listen,
you that
I
I'm with
can't. You
you.
can't force yourself on somebody when she's mad. She already knew. I said, Karen, I'm right here with you. I ain't have to go with none of them girls. We was in the room after the video shoot. When we made it back to the room that night, it was me and her. She was there the whole time. She ain't see nothing. She know I ain't nothing.
But you couldn't sweet toy like you didn't give her no kisses or nothing. Like,
But
look, baby,
of course I
chill.
did. But she was upset. She was upset. Her
Man,
mind was on that day. Her mind was hot on what all happened throughout that day and how them girls were looking at. So whatever's in her mind that day, we was young,
okay,
so
then maybe that wasn't a good idea bringing her to that, not knowing what to
I
expect.
didn't know,
Like,
bruh.
yeah,
That was my first video. I didn't know. I thought it was gonna be like the tours. We go through the tour. I wouldn't mess around. We go to the tour. We go out that night. We have a nice time. We go back. I
great.
do the tour after we perform. We go out that night. We eat. Then we go back to the
Because
hotel.
now when you do your thing, now she gonna be thinking all the time like this. Probably like every time you go do your thing, she gonna be thinking like, "Yo, it's
Nah,
mad."
she knew me better than that. She knew she knew she can trust me. She knew I was good. But it's just that her being there seeing it, you
That's
know,
what I'm saying. Once she seen that, I know it's probably like every time you go away now, she probably see that in her mind. Like, you know what I mean?
maybe. But
Yeah,
she knew what type of guy I was. She knew I loved her. I mean, I remember me. That was my baby, man. Yeah, I'm more like when I got a woman, that's who I'm with. I'm kind of like that.
yeah. I mean, because it's like when you an actor or like a big movie star, I'm sure they got girlfriends or wives or whatever, and they wife understand like, yo, my man might be on the set with these people, but like I know at the end of the night he comes home to me with me and shit. So like, yeah, I think that's how she should have been able to look at it, but oh no, that's crazy.
But when you're young, you don't think like that. I mean,
Well, maybe like I
don't
was
forget.
saying, it's her first time exposing to seeing this thought is because, like you said, she never thought about it because she never seen it. So it's
Exactly.
out of
And
sight, out
not
of
only
mind.
that,
When it's out of
I
sight, it's out of mind. So it's like when she's seen it, now it's like heavy on the mind.
that's right. But don't forget, I'm 9 years. I think I was 9 years older than her. I was 27. I think she was 17, 18. She had just turned 18. I
Oh,
was
really?
27.
Wow, damn, that was super young. I'm thinking she's at least in her 20s. She's 18.
Uh-uh. And you know something? Check this out. I'm glad we just said that because I thought about this too. When I first made it over there, and I told him, and remember I told you, my children's mother used to know how to get on my nerves. She knew how to pick my button, push my button. When I got with Karen, that like I said, that spell was broken. When she tried to make me mad, right? And I told her, I said, I think I told her, no, what it was is I told him, I said, well, I just met somebody over here. She said, yeah. I think at the time I was 26 and she was 17. That's what it was. I was 26, she was 17. I'm in Germany. And I said, yeah, I met a woman over here. Now I got a girlfriend now. I ain't say girlfriend. I think I said I met a woman. I met a young lady or what have you. And her sister, my children mother and her sister, they both on the phone. And I said, Yeah, they said, how old is she? Oh, I said, she's 17. Ooh, ooh, you gonna go to jail? You gonna go to jail? I said, no, I ain't. They said, why you ain't? You gonna go to jail? She's 17. You 26. I say, I'm not in the United States. I'm in Germany. Germany and United States ain't the same. And I could tell the look, but you, I'm revisiting it in my mind. When I said that, and if she tried to say something to make me mad, and I laugh, I could hear the, like she mad because she couldn't get to me, and I just laugh because
Yeah.
that spell is broken. That spell
Hey,
is,
yo, so is this the one you also have children with over there?
huh?
This the one you have the children with over there?
Yep, same one.
Mm,
She got both my boys.
wow.
And
That
I hadn't got to that point yet, so that's coming next week.
wow. All right,
I
yeah,
got a
man.
story, bro.
Let's stop right there, man. Let's just because, like I said, it's too much. But like, yeah, man. Next week, well, I guess we got to make it a 3 and 4 to next week.
Yeah, bro. Man, you just helped bring back some memories.
No, it's always good to have a good, especially when like I said, that was a great time. You know what I mean? You made not
Hmm.
wife, new kids, new life, new everything. Yeah, new group, new. You know what I'm saying? Doing big things. So yeah, that was probably one of the best times in your life. Probably, I'm quite sure.
Well, it's better coming. It's better things coming because now you asked me about a scripture that will remind me of of something. And what the best thing I can give you right here is this. Just like Job, Job had a nice life, a rich life before he got tested. Then he went through some turmoil. But after Job went through the turmoil, he came out double or triple blessed than he was before. That's where I'm at now. That's where I'm growing to. I already know it. See, the stuff that I've been through and what I've experienced and what I've come through and come to know now, my end is going to be greater than my beginning and than my past.
But that's like I said earlier. Is everything you go through is so you could keep getting better. So of course it's not to get worse, or you know what I mean. Everything should be getting, even if just a little bit better. It's better. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm saying that, because I see it and I know it, because of the information that we've come across, what we've come to know, and what was spoken of in the scriptures, what was prophesied for to happen for us. I'm in it. I'm a part of it. Compared to where I was, where the Creator brought me from to understand about the Roman Empire, which is what we are, which is this whole world is consisted of going through many pieces, which is the Roman Empire, coming out of that, coming to learn the information to know where I'm going now. I made a promise, which I haven't gotten to yet, is a part of the story, and it's all a part of it. Other than that, just had a pretzel. We're gonna say part 3 and part 4 for next week, and I am that Mikael in Daniel chapter 12, verses 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's me. Showing the holy people who they're really supposed to be, waking them out of their dead beds, which is really in their heads. For all of you who's living in the new, this is for you. I'm that same Mikael in Revelations 12, battling that red dragon where Satan dwells, who deceiveth the whole world but prevaileth not, because the horn is blown without a doubt. This is prophesied for you to see that Mikael is really me. And we get ready to smile way out. And this was a beautiful night of open conversations at Fight Fire with Truth. Next week we're gonna have where it says Life of Mikael, Question and Answers, Part 3 and 4. That's gonna be next week. So that could be that's gonna be the other part of what we're sharing right now, which is my life. And I would really love to make a book or maybe even a movie out of the stuff that I've been through and the stuff that I've come through and that I've shared. Other than that, I'm gonna smile way out. Smile Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shekebo, Vakuto Miolam, Va'ed, Hallelujah. Hear, O Israel, Yah, Father, is one Father. Blessed be thy glorious kingdom forever and ever. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father, for the reading of your word. Thank you for all you've shared, been sharing, and doing. We thank you for all you brought us to, brought us through, and where you're leading us to. We thank you, Father, for all in your holy word and spirit and all things we pray. Hallelujah. 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 Praise your Almighty. Huh? Daughter cat. Silver. You use a new cat. You got a new cat? Kitty cat. Huh? Kitty. He's being a lot more chattery now, too. So other than that, I appreciate you, G1, for helping me bring this out, sharing more information, and I'm gonna be looking forward for more of your questions next week. And I'm just glad I was able to kind of flow through with what I remember at this point. Other than that, it's very beautiful, y'all. I'm telling you, it's just good just going over the memory, thinking about it. So other than that, we still here. Good, we're still recording. So if anybody like to get in contact with me, please text or call me at 770-572-5315. That's 770-572-5315. Or you can email me at lkhyym@gmail.com. That's lkhyym@gmail.com. Or you can connect with me on YouTube or X, formerly known as Twitter, which I call X Twitter. So you can check me on X Twitter or on my YouTube. You can like, subscribe, and share at Juice Pro 33. That's JUICEPRO33 all together. That's Juice Pro 33 on X, Twitter, or YouTube. And also you can catch me on Instagram and TikTok. That's Instagram and TikTok at Lakaim_, which is LKHYYM_THEJUICE. That's LKHYYM_THEJUICE. That's Lakaim_the Juice. And you can also catch me on TikTok at Michael the Juice Harris. That's MICHAELTHEJUICEHARRIS. That's Michael the Juice Harris. That's my other TikTok. Also, you can catch me on Facebook. My Facebook is Mikael Harris, which is MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. That's MI_CHAEL space HARRIS. All right. Now, if you'd like to see the full version, which is from Zoom, the full version you can actually check and catch on YouTube video. The YouTube video is the full version. YouTube Live is part 1 and part 2. So YouTube full version is under video, on the YouTube. And also you can catch me on patreon.com/LKHYYM. That's LKHYYM at Patreon / and then you got rumble.com/ I say LKHYYM. That's rumble.com/LKHYYM. Those are the platforms that I'm on. Now, the nights that I'm on that you can catch me, the nights that I'm on Zoom, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube Live, I'm on quote unquote the night after Sunday, which is 9 p.m. After Sunday, which is the Sunday, people call it Sunday night, 9 p.m. At this time. It's called Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation, which is what we had tonight. Fight Fire with Truth, which is open conversation, which is what we had tonight, as well as tomorrow, after tomorrow evening or tomorrow night, shall I say, we have Mikael's Knowledge of Truth. Okay. That's Mikael's Knowledge of Truth, night after Sunday. Mikael's Knowledge of Truth at 9 p.m. as well, Eastern Time. This is Eastern Time for each and every one. And then on Tuesday night, for those who decide that they want to become free or learn to become free, which is Introductory to Solving Class of Knowledge. This is one of the things that I was sharing, that I've come a long way to understand where I'm at today to help people get to another way. Let me put it like that. Way of life. That's Introductory to Solving Class of Knowledge. And you'll have to email me because this is Zoom only, which is private. This is Zoom only and it's private. So you have to email me your email or text me your email. Tell me you want to get on and let's have a conversation, because we're not just having anybody come on. We just have to make sure we got people who are serious. That this is a serious situation. No different than when I'm serious about my dancing moves and dancing, teaching dancing. Serious with this situation as well, because this is taking my time and it's a serious situation. So that's Introduction to Solving Class of Knowledge, 6 p.m. so far, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesdays, Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. Then on the Sabbath, now we will have them on Freedom Freedom Solving Class of Knowledge. That's going to be on Wednesday for those who has passed the one for the introductory. Once you get past the introduction and get in your private office, then we have the freedom classes that will be opening up for those who are serious. And don't forget on the Sabbath, which is the Assembly of the Righteous. We're here on the Sabbath, which is people call Saturday. It's the Sabbath at 12 p.m. noon, which is the beginning of the evening. 12 p.m. noon, which is the beginning of the evening. And hopefully we'll see you then. Other than that, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. There's Eastern Time for each and every one. So we can ready to say bye over here to Facebook. All right. For everybody over here on Facebook, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate, love you. See you soon. And hope you like the information of tonight. Peace. All righty. And over here on Instagram, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate, love you, and always. Peace.
You got a blue dog.
Mm-hmm.
A blue dog.
And for YouTube Live, I thank you for your time, your patience, your listening ear, and your seeing eye. Appreciate, love you, and always. Peace. And over here on Zoom, which is the full version. And G1, I'll see you tomorrow night, hopefully. And we'll be back with this next week. Appreciate love, y'all. I'll see you soon and always. Peace.